Yo, 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 what's up? We back. Damn, man. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Let's make sure we good. Damn, yo. I done broke my goddamn audio box. I just believe me. But what's up? We back. We is back. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Well, we ain't got nobody new, so we ain't gotta worry about that. Hit that like button. They said there's nobody new. We tripped about that shit. Goodness gracious. But y'all, we gotta go back into that TK trial today, y'all. Y'all know they're in the sentencing phase right now. Yeah, they're in the sentencing phase right now. TK's sister got on the stand and spoke to his childhood. Like, remember I was telling y'all how that boy was raised? That boy's childhood was rough, man. They still waiting. We talking loyalty betrayal. Still waiting on what? Oh, TK shit. Hey, you seen that paperwork on D thing murder? What you think about that? What's up, Randy? What you think about that paperwork on D thing murder, man? What you think about it? Yo got put in a trick bag by a cell buddy. Can't trust them cell buddies, y'all. Them niggas is not your friends. You gotta remember, you in the joint. Everybody is trying to go home, and some people is trying to go home more than others. I promise you. Bad guy, what it is. Some people is trying to go home more than others, y'all. You know what I mean? And just because you won't resort to the lowest of the low, that don't mean the next person won't. I'll tell you that much. I didn't say it. The motion just was filed on the 11th. The motion on what's it called, refuting it, that just got filed on the 11th. So I guess it been out. What's today's date? The 7th, 15th, 16th? Been out for a couple of days. But let's get right into it, man. Every day we fucking with TK, man. TK trial. Yeah, he's still alive. Yo, TK don't deserve more time, y'all. The man, the shorty already got 55 years, man. Yeah, for real, y'all. Man, you can't trust no cellmate. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, he want to be severed. I think he deserved to be severed because the reason why he's trying to get severed is because, what's the other name? It's Powell and what's the other guy name? Whatever the other guy name is, he made statements, but he's not testifying to those statements. You know, those statements was constructed, was basically given through false pretenses. You know, he thought he was talking to his friend for whatever reason. He thought he was talking to his friend, and he did a whole bunch of talking, talked a little bit too much, but he's not testifying to that. So Powell can't really rebuke. He can't provide no rebuttal to it. You know, it's basically his word against mine. But we co-defendants. So we'll see what the judge do. The judge probably gonna deny the motion, because that's what judges do. I mean, this ain't NBA Youngboy situation where all this motions saying to go through. Judges be denying and striking the shit out the motions. They let the appeals court deal with it. But if everything was fair, they'd do the right thing. But I doubt it. They hardly ever do the right thing in these courts across America, man. I mean, especially if it's anything that got anything to benefit the defense team. What's up, Edwin? Oh, let me close some of these apps.
Great content needs a great audience. Like Stretch Armstrong needs to be stretched. Yeah! Woo! Feel the stretch! With two buddies, you get everything.
Those still in court? The fuck time it is over that bitch? It's 11 o'clock. So I want to hear the testimony from TK Peoples. Oh, here she go.
Well, I guess, and when you were living at that apartment complex, that's when Taylor picked up his case for his work. Is that correct?
No.
No. At some
Your evaluation of Mr. McIntyre or about the situation?
Yeah, he had expressed that he had seen some domestic violence between his parents when we talked, and it's my recollection.
Stage, you may proceed. Thank you. Dr. Fabian, I think I was asking you about Taylor McIntyre's music. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And in particular, you evaluated this individual. By defense, asked you to evaluate him. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you were evaluating him, you reviewed some of his music, particularly a song called "The Race."
Yeah,
Don't do it, Eugene.
I would say and watch some of the video. I have an understanding of the premise of the song.
Well, can you tell the jury what the premise of the song is?
Objection 705-801.
Yo, why is this song? Like, alright, in the first trial. Yo, but it's 8 years later, man. Like, yo, the song's not even relevant no more. God damn, yo, why are they using this song to punish this boy, man? That dropped the song when he was 16 years old. Like, yo, my thing is, right, what do you expect from a 16-year-old? What do you expect from a 16-year-old, y'all? Do you expect a 16-year-old to do some shit like that? And, just remain incognito? Just go on and run quietly? A 16-year-old rapper? Man, fuck no. He did what any 16-year-old probably would do that rap nowadays. He just was the first to do it. If you think about it, TK is just the first to do what most 16-year-olds, if they was to do these type of acts and go on a run and rap at the same time, they'd do the same goddamn thing. Like, they acting like this is a grown man making a grown conscious decision. It's a fucking kid. I don't think the song should hold no weight. I don't even know why the judge even allowed it.
He was on bond for a murder charge, and he was on house arrest, and I think cut his ankle bracelet and went on the run, absconded, and then beginning to travel around the country.
Okay. And that's what the song, The Race, is speaking of. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding of it, yes.
And
Objection, speculation.
And you also saw a video associated with that song, is that correct?
Objection 705, 801, 802, 803.
I watched part of it.
Okay.
I had listened to it in more detail, just, I saw just a blurb of the video. I didn't watch the whole video.
Okay. But in that video, it's Tamar McIntyre, is that right?
Objection, Your Honor. That's facts on evidence 705, 801.
It's my understanding that was him, yeah.
And particular lyrics from that song, do you recall hearing, but I ain't beat that case,
Objection,
bitch, I did the
705,
race.
705 and 802.
I'll repeat that, sorry, overspeaking. Some of the lyrics say, did you remember, but I ain't beat that case, bitch, I did the race. Do you recall that?
I do recall that line.
And what about the line, shoot a fuckboy in his motherfucking face?
Hey, yo, why are they doing this, bro? God damn. Yo, he got 55 years already. Yo, this is what I be meaning, yo, yo. This is a predatory system. The man got the kid at the time. Because we got to remember, we judging the kid. We're not judging a 25-year-old. We judging a kid. He got 55 years already, y'all. 55 years at 16 years old. Like, what more do you... Like, what they want to tag another 55? You want to get them 110? Like, god damn, like, they really pushing this shit.
I don't recall that.
What about, I'm little TK, I don't think you want no action. You want action, you get turned into past tense. You recall that?
Your Honor, and as to the reading of all the lyrics into the record, I want my objections for all of these questions. You're running objection 705, 801, 802, 803.
All right, those objections are removed.
And Dr. Fabian, I'll repeat that. It says, again, I'm not going to read all the lyrics that are
So you from suburbia or something? He'll real be tripping. Yo, he don't deserve another 55 years, right? What purpose would giving him another 55 years do? Die in prison? He should die in prison over a decision he made when he was 16 years old, yo. Like, yo, people that think like, yo, that is insanely stupid. He should die. Yo, think about when you were 16. Think about how you thought at 16 years old. Yeah, yo, what he did was tragic. Yo, what he did was fucked up, yo, but he was 16 years old. Imagine having to live the rest of your life in prison for a decision you made when you were 16 years old and you die at 70. Come on, man, that shit's stupid, man.
Of the song. I'm just going to read portions of it. It says, I'm little TK. I don't think you want no action. You want action, you get turned into past tense. You recall that?
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I wasn't clear. Is the court granting me a running objection?
Yeah, your objections, you're making them, I have overruled it.
As I go?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe I recall that line.
And what about Smith and Wesson made by 9 with some compassion?
Objection 705, 801, 802, 803.
Overruled.
I remember the Smith and Wesson reference.
And then what about this line? Fuck a beat. I was trying to beat a case, but I ain't beat that case. Bitch, I did the race.
Objection 705, 801, 802, 803.
Overruled.
I recall that line.
No, it's not so much about the charge, yo. It's more about the mindset of a 16-year-old, bro. It's not about the charge. It's about the mind frame of a 16-year-old. The thought process of a 16-year-old. The ignorance of a 16-year-old. And the racial component that goes into what happens between when we commit crimes at a young age versus when they commit crimes at a young age. All of that matters, man. It's a racial undertone in this.
And then the line, I'm gonna shoot, bitch, without a debate.
I knew a
I'm
bunch
gonna
of them.
shoot. You can see it in my face.
That's why I said, I don't know where
Objection
you from,
705,
bro.
801, 802, 803.
I don't recall that line.
But if I ask you again, you said that this particular song was about pretty much the defendant cutting off his ankle monitor because he was on bond for murder
Objection
and
asked.
running and running around. I guess running about throughout the United States. Is that correct?
I would agree.
And you also have knowledge that this song was written and released very soon after the murder here in San Antonio, Texas.
Objection speculation.
Correct.
And so this song was written and released after the murder of Mark Salvador, the individual here in San Antonio, Texas.
Object to
How the fuck
speculation.
do they know? How do you know
And I
that?
don't know if you know
That's my understanding.
Okay. I guess maybe you don't know the victim's name, Mark Salvador, but that's the name of the victim.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know. I'm aware of his name.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Yo,
you reviewed, as you stated,
how the fuck they know when the song came out? Like when it was written? They don't know when the song was written, man. Did they provide any proof as to when the song was written? Did they speak to the engineer? I don't know. Maybe they did, but I didn't see it.
earlier several different things in this case. Well, let me ask you, you did review some of the materials associated with police reports that defense counsels gave you. Is that correct?
That's what, and Lord, that's what I think. Run it concurrent, man. Give him another 55. Run that shit concurrent. Yo, he don't deserve more years than 55 years, man. Yo, that is an extensive amount of time in prison. You talking about 55 years? He fuck around do about 40 and some change. He come home 50, damn near 60. Like, god damn, just don't take the man whole. Like give him some adult life to live on the street. God damn. That's all I'm saying.
And did they give, do you know if they gave you everything associated with Tamar McIntyre?
I don't know that.
So I guess to say this is that just they gave you everything that they gave you, but you don't know if there's other things out there associated with news reports or other songs or other criminal history or anything like that. Is that correct?
This is inviting the witness to comment
Now
on
you got
things
80
that
years.
are
Yeah.
not evidence. Here's total hearsay.
On basis versus.
This isn't, again, it isn't something that was disclosed in the 702, 705 hearing.
Oh, you can ask the question.
You can answer the question, Mr.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have his criminal history. They gave me, they provided police reports and then of defendant and family members, and I think some school records, prior psychological evaluation, current indictment. Most of them was, I think, Arlington Police Department reports.
Okay. Thank you. Now, you stated that one thing I wanted to touch on is the pre-diagnostic study prepared for the Honorable Timothy E. Manikos. Did you review that from Tarrant County?
Bro, you about to have a bit through nothing, bro. Yo, ain't nothing funny about that shit, bro. Yo, ain't nothing funny. Hold on, let me switch this one. Yo, ain't nothing funny about this kid getting motherfucking 80 years in prison, man. What the fuck make me think that shit funny, bro? What the fuck, y'all like, niggas be crazy. Like, where the fuck they make y'all at? Like, ain't nothing funny about that shit, my nigga. He still was a young black kid, man. Now, if I go on the other end of the spectrum, and start pulling up cases, you gonna be like, damn, how you gonna if I go on the other end of the spectrum and start comparing cases and comparing time, are you still gonna say the same thing? Are you still gonna be ignorant and say, yo, he deserved 80 years in prison? Come on, yo, the niggas don't be getting that much time, bro. Niggas don't be getting that much time, bro. Shorty came up fucked up. I'm ready to fast forward to his sister. Listen to how he grew up. We can skip, y'all. We ain't trying to hear that.
I'm when I've been evaluating this case, again, from a mitigating standpoint, the information that I've reviewed in my evaluation with Mr. McIntyre has revealed the same, neurodevelopmental risk factors, but also the issues related to trauma and just really the way he was raised. That's really what I'm interested, concerned about, and I think the offenses and the song all come with all of that.
Hey, Real.
Okay. So it doesn't change.
Real probably grew up a victim. Hey, Real, how many times you been a victim in your life, bro? Hey, Real, you act like a victim, bro. Like you just been a victim your whole life, getting disrespected and getting swirlies and shit. But, hey, yo, you crazy as a motherfucker, boy. What the fuck, Real? You could have never been my friend, yo. We'd have ran you home.
Change your opinion one way or the other.
It doesn't. I'm not basing my evaluation on a song you wrote.
And to be fair, do you even know if he wrote it?
No, I actually did. I can't really prove that.
He got it. You had to be Diddy.
Judge, what are your first? Yes.
You think like you've been a victim your whole life, bro. Niggas just chase you home from school and shit.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
The crazy thing about it, right? You got the influenza. Are y'all familiar with the influenza kid? Let's go to influenza. Influenza case. What the fuck that shit was called? Not the flu. Yeah, what was the name of that kid, man? That the judge spared because he was too privileged. Judge spare a kid because he's too privileged. The fuck was the name of that case? I thought it was called influenza. Yo, what the shit? I know that shit was called. Yo, what that shit called influenza, y'all? Influenza. Damn, yo, what the fuck was that shit called? Oh, y'all. never remember this fucking name of the case. I could have sworn that shit was called influenza. What up, y'all? What was the influenza case about? I flew, y'all. Yo, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? I thought it was influenza, man. Ethan Couch. That's his name. Ethan Couch. Ethan Couch case. Affluenza. And he fucked up and came back. Let's check this out. For all you motherfuckers that don't get it.
Today on Prime Crime, we'll be covering the case of Ethan Couch, who at the age of 16 killed 4 people while driving under the influence. This case was one of major controversy, as it demonstrated the reality of being able to use one's wealth as a get-out-of-jail-free card. However, now it was given a formal name, affluenza, and many couldn't believe that this defense was used to justify such a horrific crime.
Listen to this.
Ethan Couch was born on April 11, 1997, to parents Fred Couch and Tanya Couch. Fred was the president and owner of Claiborne Sheet Metal, a large-scale metal roofing company with over 40 employees, while Tanya did some work as a vocational nurse, as well as odd jobs for Fred's company. As a child, Ethan was described as a cute little kid who seemed happy to be in school. He was a great student and was never mean to his fellow classmates. His childhood, however, was a dysfunctional one, due to Fred and Tanya's parenting styles. Fred, according to a psychologist, had been angry since his childhood. He was arrogant and prideful, and flaunted his wealth around with little regard for potential consequences. Although Tanya is described as kind, she frequently enabled Ethan. According to one of Ethan's teachers, Tanya's biggest problem was that she loved him so much, she couldn't tell him no. Both parents, especially his mother, toted Ethan as a golden boy. They just wanted the best for him. In 2006, Fred and Tanya divorced. During this time, the court ordered the family to complete a psychological evaluation. Fred told the social worker interviewing him that the marriage had been a mistake from the start. According to him, Tanya was addicted to pills and had given Ethan, who was 9 at the time, Vicodin more than once.
Dang.
It's also said that she had threatened to commit suicide and used her child as her protector. Tanya even had Ethan sleep in her bedroom on a separate bed that she moved in there. As for Tanya's statement, she said that the reason she and Fred were getting divorced was due to verbal and physical abuse. Fred would call her names, grab her by her hair, and he even tried to throw her into a fireplace once. In opposition to his parents, the social worker described Ethan as polite and patient. He had an interest in school and maintained good grades. However, it was noted that Ethan had been absent from school 50 days in kindergarten and 40 days in second grade. He also
Killed
mentioned
4
that he
people.
loved his parents. He just wanted to see his dad more and wished that they didn't put him in the middle of their arguments. Their failing marriage definitely put Ethan in the middle of many of their problems, which for a young child is traumatizing. The social worker who evaluated the couches found that Ethan had been adultified by his parents. They treated him like an adult at an early age by constantly involving him in their adult issues and decisions. Following the divorce, Ethan would spend most of his time living with his mother in their home in Burlington. His dad would stop by a few times a week to visit him, and Ethan would occasionally stay with him. Around this time, they had also enrolled Ethan at the Anderson School, a highly selective private school in Fort Worth, Texas. This move was to ensure that Ethan received the best
This Texas as well. How surprising.
education imaginable. His mother did not want Ethan to turn out like the others. He was their golden boy. Unfortunately, his education
Perfect
there only
case.
lasted a few years. When Ethan was 13, the school's founder, LaVonna Anderson, had noticed that he drove himself to school. This concerned her, and she brought the matter up with Fred. Fred reacted angrily to what he felt she was asserting. He told her that Ethan was the best driver he knew, and that he would continue driving himself to school. He also said that Ethan didn't need college, that he would take over the family business one day. To further put Anderson back in her place, he resolved that he would buy the school.
Dang.
Of course, instead of taking that course of action, he enrolled Ethan in a homeschool co-op program, which after 2 years, Ethan stopped attending. It's unclear whether or not Ethan graduated high school. However, he did begin taking classes at a local community college and was spending some time working at his father's company. The relationship between Ethan's parents was still in disarray at this time, which Ethan used to his advantage. When one parent would deny him something or discipline him, Ethan would often go behind their back to the other parent, who would then give in to what he wanted. It mostly happened with his father disciplining him and his mother conceding to his demands. His father might try to take away his video game system or truck, and Tanya would give it back to Ethan. The running theme here is that Ethan rarely faced consequences for his bad behavior, and even when he did, his parents were there to get him out of it. The months leading up to the crash clearly show the dysfunctional world in which Ethan and his parents lived in. Fred and Tanya, who had remarried, had moved to a new house, while Ethan was still living on his own at the family house in Burleson. The house was empty except for a bed, couch, Xbox, and television. The reason given for Ethan living there on his own was that his parents wanted him to get the house ready to be sold. Ethan, however, told a different story. He told a friend that he had got into a fight with his dad and was kicked out of the house. The freedom granted to Ethan, given his parents' hands-off approach, only served to increase his drinking and drug use. In February 2013, only months before the crash, Ethan had another incident of being caught drinking underage. He had been driving his mom's F-150 truck when a police officer found him urinating in the parking lot of a Dollar General at 1 a.m. Inside the truck, the officer also found a 14-year-old girl who was undressed, as well as bottles of alcohol. Ethan was clearly intoxicated. When asked what he was doing, he responded with, "What to look like I'm doing." Given his age, his mother Tanya was called to the scene. After she arrived, Ethan explained to his mom that he had only drank 1 beer. Tanya's only concern, however, was hiding the incident from her husband. Although Ethan had broken a number...
Where does decision making come from? How do you establish good decision making? Is that something that you're taught, or is that something that you just learned along the way? Answer that question.
Number of laws, he was only issued 2 tickets, one for minor in consumption and the other for minor in possession. Tanya drove Ethan home, again sparing him from facing the appropriate consequences.
He definitely don't make no sense.
As for the girl that he was with, when Tanya was asked what happened to her, she guessed that the girl's mom picked her up from the scene, but she wasn't certain. After this event, Tanya continued covering for Ethan, shielding him from being punished by Fred. This included paying the fines for his tickets herself and making excuses for him when he did not complete his court-ordered classes and community service hours. It's also said that Ethan's drinking and drug use increased in the time leading up to the crash. This blatant disregard for the law, as well as unsupervised substance abuse, created the perfect storm for what would happen the night of June 15th, 2013.
Y'all don't remember this case?
That day began as any other. Ethan went to work at his dad's company. After his shift, he went home and got ready for a party that he was planning that evening. He posted about the party on social media, inviting classmates and friends to stop by. His friends, Garrett and Avery, who were already there, took shots with Ethan. They ate dinner and then left to pick up a few people and stop by a store to get more alcohol. Driving his dad's F-350, the group went to a nearby Walmart and picked up 3 cases of beer. Given their young age and likely nonchalant attitude toward rule following, they snuck out a side entrance without paying.
Stealing the
Upon
shit.
returning to the house, the typical melee of teenage partying ensued. They played music and beer pong, drank more, doing shots of Everclear, and lit fireworks in the backyard.
God damn, it's
His
180
friend
proof.
Star, who was not drinking because she had gotten so drunk with Ethan the weekend prior and needed a break, realized midway through the party that her period had started. She was in desperate need of tampons and couldn't find any in the house. She called 2 cab companies, neither of which picked up. After expressing her dilemma to Ethan, he volunteered to drive her to a gas station less than a mile away from the house. He took another shot before leaving, and because he had just met some of the people at the party that day, he didn't want to leave them in the house alone. So he told everyone to come with him. As Ethan and his friends were piling into the car, another group of people were on their way to being brought together in order to help someone having car troubles. The Boyles family was enjoying dinner at home and had just sat down to watch a movie together. Shelby, their 21-year-old daughter, was home from nursing school and spending the evening with her parents, Eric and Holly. Down the street, Evan Jennings was celebrating his high school graduation with family and friends. When the party was winding down, Evan's father, youth pastor Brian Jennings, loaded his truck up with tables and chairs that he'd borrowed from the church for the party. Brian, along with his godson Lucas and Lucas's friend Isaiah, were on their way to return the tables and chairs back to the church and then head home. These 2 groups, the Boyles and the Jennings, came together because they wanted to help 24-year-old Brianna Mitchell, whose Mercury Mountaineer spun out while driving home from work, crashing in front of the Boyles' home. Eric, Holly, and Shelby heard the accident outside their home and went outside to assist. Brianna used Shelby's cell phone to call her mom for help, and Shelby and Holly waited with her in front of her vehicle. Eric, meanwhile, picked up the family's mailbox that had been knocked over by the Mountaineer and carried it up to the garage. Brian Jennings was also driving down the road where the group had gathered. He wanted to help. He pulled over and told the 2 boys riding with him, "Y'all sit tight. I'll be back in just a minute." As Pastor Jennings, Holly, Shelby, and Brianna were waiting on the side of the road, Ethan pulled his dad's F-350 out of his driveway. Almost instantly after starting the car, Ethan was driving recklessly. He gunned the engine, drove on the wrong side of the road, and was speeding at 70 miles per hour. His friend Star testified that she yelled at him that he needed to get over.
Reckless as a motherfucker.
Ethan's driving set off a horrific chain reaction of cars colliding. When he swerved back over, Ethan went off road, hitting Brianna's Mountaineer along with the 4 people standing in front of the car.
Damn.
Ethan's truck then hit Jennings' vehicle, knocking it across the road into oncoming traffic.
Damn.
The truck then flipped over and struck a tree.
Jesus Christ.
The scene was absolute chaos. Eric Boyles, who was still in the garage, reported that he heard an explosion so loud that it shook his house. Walking back outside, he was horrified by what he saw. There were car parts and bodies and debris everywhere. It reminded him more of a plane crash than a car accident. By the time Eric found both Holly and Shelby, they were dead. Brianna, talking on the phone with her mom, was also killed on impact. As for Pastor Jennings, his best friend, who had just left the graduation party, drove past a wreck. He could see chairs laying in the road and knew that it was Brian. He jumped out of his car and found his friend lying in a ditch. Brian's wife also drove past the scene and saw her husband as he was receiving CPR. She knew that whatever happened wasn't good. The teens riding with Ethan all survived the accident. One passenger, Sergio Molina, suffered a severe brain injury. He's completely paralyzed,
Dang.
being unable to move or speak, and can only communicate with his family through blinking. Ethan, on the other hand, walked away from the accident, bloodied but in one piece. The bystanders who found him reported that
That like
when
button,
he came
y'all.
to, he said, "Hey man, I'm Ethan. I can get you out of all of this." He clearly didn't know what happened. He also refused medical attention, claiming that he couldn't afford an ambulance. 3 hours following the incident, Ethan had a blood alcohol level of 0.24. That's 3 times the legal limit in Texas. Ethan was charged with 4 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 2 counts of intoxication assault. He pled guilty, and in December 2013, his sentence hearing began. The psychologist the defense brought on to analyze Ethan spent over 50 hours with him. He concluded that Ethan was suffering from affluenza, given his wealthy upbringing and the lack of consequences from his actions. The psychologist recommended that Ethan be separated from his parents and that their poor parenting was a major cause of the accident. The affluenza defense, albeit flimsy, was successful, and the judge sentenced Ethan to only 10 years probation, as well as to spend time in a rehab facility.
10 years probation. 10 years probation. Did y'all see that wreckage? So you heard how he grew up, right? You heard about his life. Let's go back to take
In
care.
2015, 2 years after his sentencing, Ethan violated the terms of his probation.
Came right back.
He had missed to check in with his probation officer and had been seen playing beer pong at a party with friends. A warrant was issued for his arrest. In another attempt to evade the law, Ethan and his mother, Tanya, fled to Mexico. They were caught 2 weeks later and returned to Texas for trial. Ethan finally received some jail time for the probation violation. He was sentenced to 180 days for each of the 4 people.
6 months. Get him off my screen, man. I just be wanting to provide perspective so people understand what the fuck I be talking about, man. Now let's go back. Let's see how TK grew up. Now we heard how he grew up and how the judge gave him a break. Let's listen to how TK grew up, man. Let's listen to his life, adolescent experiences.
Bad grades then. For
Is that right?
Yes, I understand.
And that he was. No question, John.
How old were you when you were taken from your mother?
I believe I was 5.
5. So Tamar would have been how old?
Well, I believe that Tamar was 5 and I was about 7.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah,
that,
hell yeah, that shit wild as shit.
did
See, the
both
thing
your
is, yo, I
parents
always paid attention to this type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, man, I can go on. I could go for days. Like, yo, this is a 2-tier justice system. That's why I be speaking like this when you got these type of situations. Because it's like, yo, hold up. Fuck no. You can't. And that was in Texas. This is in Texas.
in the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that stop at some point? You said you were taken from your mom.
Yes, my dad was incarcerated for domestic violence against my mom.
Okay. Do you know anything about that incident? Do you remember it?
I remember seeing my mom after, like, injured.
Tell us about that. Would you?
I just remember seeing our mom afterwards. She was injured really bad after she was hospitalized. stuff like that.
Was Tamor around for that?
Yes, sir.
And you said your father was incarcerated. Do you know if he went to prison for it?
Yes.
Man, Future LeVar, man.
So
Thanks for late
after
night
he
entertainment.
went to prison, did you all stay with your mother for some period of time, or did CPS get involved immediately?
For some time, maybe a couple of years, 1 or 2 years or something like that.
Just living with your mama?
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
We moved around a lot, kind of. I think she was trying to find stability, but didn't have a lot of help.
Okay. So you mentioned that eventually Child Protective Services got involved.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us more about that? What happened there?
One day they came and they took us from our mom, and we fought with them and cried, and then they put us in an orphanage.
Okay. And you said that this was a couple of years after your dad was locked up. If you need a moment, that's okay.
Thank you.
So, how old do you think you were when you went to the orphanage?
I think Tamar was 5 and I was about 7. That's when they took us from our mom.
When they took you from your mom? Okay. And was that orphanage in Texas, or was that someplace else?
It was in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Do you remember the name of the orphanage?
Child Haven.
Child Haven?
Yes, sir.
And describe to the jury what Child Haven was like.
It was like it was buildings, like different buildings in a property that was gated, and like the different buildings hold different kids of different ages. So me and Tamar were separated at that place for some time, and we were allowed to get visitation with each other, but we couldn't leave there. We went to school there, we ate there, bathed there, and sleep there. And sometimes we get visits. I think we got a visit one time.
Kind of sounds like a jail. Is that fair, or is it not like that?
Definitely sound like a jail.
Yeah, it was. It's like a jail.
How long were you there?
As a kid, I didn't understand time, so it felt like a year, but it might have been like 6 months or something like that, close to a year.
You're not really sure, but
No, I'm not sure.
it felt like, I guess.
Yeah, it felt like a year.
Yeah, if you young time, you feel long as a bitch.
What happened to get you out of the orphanage?
They placed us in a foster home. They found a foster home for us
Where was that?
in Las Vegas, Nevada, in a neighborhood, low-income neighborhood.
You and Tamor were placed together in the same home.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like living in foster home?
We weren't happy, so it was sad. We just wanted to go home.
Did you have any contact with your parents?
No,
Did you know what had happened to your parents?
no. It was times we didn't even know if our mom was still living.
How long were you living with that foster? Was it a family, or was it a single person? Do you know?
It was I believe she was married, and eventually her husband passed away. But it was a married woman.
And what was daily life like with her?
If it was during the year, then we go to school and we come back after school. If no extracurricular activities, and if it wasn't during the year, then we have to be in her home at all times, not allowed to ever leave.
You couldn't leave her property?
No,
Tamor too, or just you?
neither one of us, Tamar, either.
What happened if you tried to argue with her about that?
She didn't allow it, and we were young, so we just did.
Do you feel like you were provided for there?
Provided for because we ate every day and had a place to stay, so yeah.
What about your emotional needs?
No, not at all.
How long were you with this woman and her husband before he died?
I believe that we were with her for up to 2 years at the most at one point, and then we got transferred somewhere else and sent back to her again. So over the years, we were with her 2 times. The length of time that we were in foster care.
So you were transferred from her care to another foster home, or transferred back to the orphanage, or how did that happen?
We were transferred to our grandfather family.
Okay, tell me about your grandfather.
He's a retired veteran. I don't know his age, but he took good care of us, and he's a good man.
What's his name?
Russell Hardy.
And where does he live?
In Waco, Texas.
Okay, and that's where you all went to stay after you left Las Vegas?
Yes, sir.
And Tamor came with you, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what life was like living in Waco.
We were allowed to be kids, and we were happy for the time span that we were out there. We were happier than we ever been as a kid in foster care or any of that stuff.
How did Tamor take it living with your grandfather?
He took it better. He started to get better grades and things like that. My grandpa was more involved in his school with his teachers and stuff like that. So eventually he did start to be better, do better and be happier, like a happier kid, more do extracurricular activities and just be a kid.
And about how long did this period of time last where you lived in Waco?
Maybe a year or so.
What happened after that?
They took us from our grandfather's care and sent us back to Las Vegas to Child Haven.
When you say they,
That's
who was
fucked up.
that?
CPS.
Child Protective Services?
Yes.
So they was in a better situation. They took him out the situation and put him back at the jail.
Went back to Child Haven?
Yes.
Do you know why they sent you back to Child Haven from your grandpa's house?
They never really explained it to us as kids. They just said that we would be coming back, so that it was just temporary.
Did you come back?
No.
When you got to Child Haven, the second time, how long were you there for?
Just one day.
Okay, just one day. What happened after that?
They sent us to the same foster home that we lived in before.
The woman that you mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. What was it like when you went back to live with her?
It was the same. But I feel like this time we were older and we knew it was wrong. Like we learned like how she would treat us.
Help me understand that more when you say how she would treat you.
Maybe like physically abuse us and mentally abuse us and accuse us of things we didn't do and couldn't have done, or like 24-hour surveillance for us. Like it doesn't matter, we couldn't watch TV, have a phone, or nothing like that.
So are you saying that she hit you all?
She did.
Did she hit Tamor?
She did.
When you talk about mentally abusing you, you talked about not being able to leave. Is that what you mean, or do you mean something else?
I mean just overall, because we were young and we were kids, so it was like a weird feeling with her because we wanted her to love us, but she was always disappointed in us, and we would get accused for things that we didn't even do. So it was just like I feel like that was like mental abuse, because it was like we just wanted to earn her love, like be really respectful to her and not do anything wrong, but we would still end up in trouble.
What kind of things did she accuse you of doing, or accuse Tamor of doing?
Maybe, well, it was every kid in the house, but maybe like picking at carpet, like if normal wear and tear on the carpet, if it's older, like maybe we did it, we picked it out the ground, or maybe like we scratched a scratch on a wooden furniture that's older and wear and tear. It was things like that.
You made it sound like it wasn't just you and the woman who took you in. Were there other people living in that house?
It was other kids. They were all siblings. So 3 other kids that were all siblings.
Okay, were they her children or were they also adopted?
They were not her children. They were in foster care. She ended up adopting them.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I used that word adopted a little carelessly. Y'all weren't adopted, I take it?
No,
Okay, but she had adopted other children from the foster system.
we met them the first time we lived with her. The second time that we came back, she had adopted them and changed their names and everything like that.
I see. Okay. So, how long did this last where you were back with the lady in Las Vegas?
Not I don't want to say it was a year. I don't want to say it was a year.
During that time period, did you have contact with any of your biological family?
This time we were allowed to occasionally talk to maybe our grandfather or our uncle who visited us before one time. And so yeah, this time we were able to talk to family sometimes. Yeah,
Were you able to talk to your mom and dad?
not my mom, but my dad. Well, not even my dad. Maybe if I received a letter, but I don't think so ever. Not in her care.
So you said that you were there with this woman again for about a year?
The second time I feel like it was just less than a year.
Less than a year, okay. What happened after that?
We ended up telling the social worker about her treatment the last time we lived with her and how it was still going on this time. Because this time they let us have different type of workers that come and talk to us or take us somewhere to a park or anything. So this time we got closer with our workers and we let them know like everything that had been going on. So they switched us foster homes.
Okay, so the second time around, there were some social workers to oversee
Have a
what
way
was
to
going
grow up
on.
right here, boy.
Okay, and based upon what you told the social worker, what happened?
They removed us from her home,
Where'd y'all go?
a different foster home.
Okay, tell me about that foster home.
It was better. We lived there until we were not in foster care anymore.
Where was that other foster home?
In Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, and do you all have any connection to Las Vegas, Nevada, besides that they took you to Child Haven and that's where you got put in the foster system?
No,
Okay, no relatives, no distant relatives?
no.
Okay. So, you said that you lived with the second foster family until you were taken out of the foster system. What happened there to get you out of the foster system?
Our dad got out of prison and we were released into his care
And where was your dad living when he was released from prison?
in Arlington, Texas.
Okay, so that's where y'all went?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about what it was like to go to be with your father at that time.
At first it was supposed to be happy, but it was a lot of abuse and things going on.
Okay, abuse towards you, abuse towards Tamor.
Abuse towards both of us.
Tell us about it.
About what he would do.
Yes.
Well, what do you call it? Maybe like his punishments were too big for like the thing. Like if we got bad grades, then we would be punished. Like he would. It started off by maybe the whoopings got worse and worser, and then now it's not a belt. Now it's a 2x4. And we get a certain number of hits, and we get hit with it. And we have to lay there, and we can't get up. And it was times when Tamar was younger than me, so Tamar was younger than me, and he would cry, and just maybe they would think he was over dramatic, so they would tie him down to an ironing board, strap him down, like stuff like that.
And you said that these were examples of over-disciplining you both for things in the house?
Maybe bad grades. maybe like, yeah, just bad grades and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We weren't bad kids to be doing anything, like going and doing anything we didn't have any business. We were too young, and we moved around a lot to know what's going on in our outside world. We were just learning. So it would be stuff like bad grades and stuff like.
Were there ever any signs that you were being hurt this way, or things that other people would notice?
Yes.
Give me some examples.
Bruises, busted lips, noses. Like people have witnessed before.
Did any of these things ever come to the attention of your teachers or other adults outside your house?
Tamar's teacher noticed.
Okay. What happened when she noticed?
I wasn't there the exact moment. A certain teacher took a like maybe noticed Tamar and built a relationship with him. And one day he had some type of bruising or something on his face. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a black eye or what, but the teacher ended up asking him, and he ended up being honest with her. And the school intervened, and they called our dad and our stepmom. Our stepmom came to the school, and they ended up talking to us, saying that we can't have any contact with our dad, and they just released us to her the same day.
Okay. But she was living in the same house as your dad, or
Yes.
No? Yes, she was?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened after that?
After that, then we went home with her, and they told Tamar, we got in trouble, and they told Tamar that he had to say that he was lying.
Okay.
Yeah,
your dad and your stepmother pressured him to say he wasn't making it up?
Yes.
Okay. So did CPS ever get back involved as a result of that?
No.
How long did all this go on, living with your dad?
Until I was about 16, 17, or by the time
I did a video on him, so I already know his upbringing was fucked up, yo. Yo, everybody can't make it out of this and be normal. So we got a habit of saying, well, since this person did it, they came out okay, yo. But that's not every situation. Everybody can't do that, yo. Everybody can't go through these traumatic type experiences and still be a productive citizen. You feel me? Without going through some type of turbulence, and that's what Shorty went through, yo. It just so happened, you know, people lost their life, which is tragic, and he does deserve some type of punishment, yo. But the time that they just gave, yo, come on, yo, they could have kept him with the 55, yo, like. But like somebody said, I forgot who said that in the comments. They probably bring him back in like 10 years. If he stay out of trouble in like 10 years, they might knock some time off. Because at the end of the day, yo, we dealing with a 16-year-old that grew up fucked up, yo. That's the reality of it. We just watched a kid that grew up great, just had a little bit of fucked up situations, and he killed 4 people on court probation. Court 10 years probation.
I was like 16 years old, then me and Tamar started to think about we didn't want to live.
Messed it up. Court fucking probation, man. Like, we gotta keep that shit real, man.
With him anymore, and we wanted our mom to live with our mom, and
Your mom at this time?
I don't know where she was. We just were upset that everybody took us away from her, and then we just thought that we knew that she wasn't perfect, but you know, just to have like wake up one day and your kids be ripped from you, or us being ripped from our mom, I felt like that wasn't helping her or us. But we felt like that.
So what did y'all do?
We started to think about living with our mom, or just, you know, living somewhere else around the time I was 16. And then by the time I turned 17, then we decided to leave.
So Tamar would have been
Someone
how old
definitely
around
messed
this
up
time?
his case.
15, 16?
15.
Okay. You said you decided to leave.
Yes.
Did you leave?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
We went to Corpus Christi with our mom after some time. Initially, we first left and we stayed here and there, and then we left Arlington to go to Corpus Christi after maybe like a month.
And that's where your mother was living?
Yes.
How long did you stay with your mom?
I stayed not even one night. I came and I brought Tamar, and then I left.
Okay. So, when you took Tamar down there, did you tell your dad you were taking him?
No.
All right. You were trying to get him out of the house?
I felt like if I did not take Tamar and leave, then my dad would keep hitting us and he would get in trouble eventually. Somebody would notice, there would be nothing we could do about it, or he would hurt Tamar, or law enforcement would have to get involved, and they would have no choice.
And last time that happened to your dad, what happened to you all?
We went to foster care.
So, do you know how long Tamar was in Corpus Christi with his mom?
I want to say a month maybe. Or a month. It couldn't have been longer than 2 months.
Where did he go from there?
Back to Arlington. He stayed with a friend and their grandmother.
Okay. How long was he staying with them?
I'm not sure.
Did you ever get to meet the grandmother?
I think I never met her. I think I've been there, but she's elderly. I think I never met her.
Okay. How was Tamar behaving around that time?
I mean, he was all right. How he was behaving, he liked to make music and stuff like that, so he wasn't having behavioral problems.
Okay. Now, eventually, did something happen to that older lady that you mentioned that he was living with?
She passed away.
Okay. And what happened after that for Tamar?
Then he went with other friends, or like had to figure it out on his own after that. He bounced around a lot, didn't have a place to stay.
What was your opinion of the kind of company he was keeping after he left that older lady's house?
I knew that if the circumstances were different, he probably wouldn't be around the same people.
Okay, but as far as those people are concerned, I mean, you know that some of them were drug dealers, right?
Right.
Some of them were violent.
I'm not object to leading your minutes to stay.
What sorts of things were the people he was hanging around with like? What were they doing?
I didn't hang around them. I didn't like them. They didn't like me. So I knew that I didn't like the way they treated him sometimes, or like whatever was going on.
How did they treat him?
Just not. Those aren't your friends. I could just boil down to, you can just tell some people aren't really your friends or want better for you.
Well, are you saying they took advantage of him, or are you saying that they were a bad influence, or how do you
I feel like so, because he was only 15 years old, and it's a bunch of grown people who are just,
So were these people older than Tamar?
yes.
Was fair to say he was the youngest in that group?
Yes.
And were these the types of people he was hanging around when he got arrested in Fort Worth?
Yes.
Now, as far as the case in Fort Worth is concerned, are you a witness to any of the facts of that case? I mean, were you there for the case?
I was in trial.
You watched the trial?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what they're accusing him of doing specifically was?
I know that he did not even have a weapon of any sorts, and he didn't harm anybody. And I know that he was 15 years old, and pretty much.
And you got to watch the trial unfold.
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Beverly, I want to start off by saying I'm sorry for the abuse that you had to witness, and I don't think that any child should have to witness that. But there are some things that I have to talk to you about. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So your brother, to your knowledge, he was born in Long Beach, California. Is that right?
He was born in Macomb, Mississippi.
In Mississippi. Did you guys ever live in California?
Yes.
Is that with your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And then, is your mother from California?
Yes.
All right. Now, as far as how you guys ended up in Las Vegas, is that because you lived there with your mother?
Yes.
Okay, and as a result of that, you guys ended up in the foster system in Las Vegas, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know you stated that your brother's about 2 years younger than you, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And growing up, I mean, you guys were very close, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, I mean, I think you would describe it as you two were kind of the only thing that each other had growing up, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so, I mean, you love your brother, that's correct, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to see anything bad happen to him?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now, regarding your father, I guess you stated when you guys went back, or when you took Tamor down to Corpus Christi, I mean, you loved your dad, is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't want him to get in any trouble for the abuse that you guys were undergoing at his hands, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you guys have kind of reconciled with your dad since then, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in fact, he was here watching the trial last week, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now regarding you, I guess when you were about 17 or 18, did you get your own apartment?
When I was 18 years old.
Okay. And was that was located in Arlington, Texas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess the address to that apartment, it was 2216 Plum Lane. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
Do you know what the address is?
I thought it was Shepherd Oaks Drive.
Okay. Do you recall what the name of the apartment complex was?
Sutter Creek.
Sutter Creek. Okay. And regarding, I guess I'm gonna show you something really quick. Well, I guess when you were living at that apartment complex, that's when Tamor picked up his case in Fort Worth. Is that correct?
No.
No. At some point, when Tamor picked up his case in Fort Worth, he was released from the juvenile detention center. Correct?
Can you say that again?
Yeah. So when Tamor was arrested up in Tarrant County, do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, and he was in juvenile detention.
Yes.
Okay, and he got an ankle monitor. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when he was released on an ankle monitor, didn't he go to live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was at your apartment that you had?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I want to show you. Is that your brother, as depicted on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that photo taken at your apartment, the Sutter apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, at the age of, I guess, 18, your brother, he went to go live with you and you were kind of taking care of him. Is that how you describe it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, you've done your best to be there for him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And to provide for him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you allowed him to live with you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess you described the environment that you provided for him at that time when he was on an ankle monitor as stable, right?
I described it as that?
Would you describe it as stable?
No.
but you were doing your best to provide for him as best as an 18-year-old could.
Right.
Okay. And so at that time when he's living with you, I guess he decides to cut his ankle monitor. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so he's no longer living with you. He cuts his ankle monitor, and he's Arlington, Texas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I guess previously you would describe your brother's stature at that time as small, right? He was a smaller individual.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess at the time that you guys were living together, you previously stated that you guys were sharing an iPhone at that time. Is that correct?
That we were sharing an iPhone.
Or did you ever share a cell phone with him?
I don't even think we had phones.
Oh, okay. Do you recall an interview that you gave to Say Cheese, the social media outlet?
Do I recall it? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall in that interview you said that you and your brother shared a phone at the time that he was living with you?
No, I don't recall.
Okay, and I'm going to show you some photos. Okay, so who is that depicted on the screen?
Me and Tamar.
Okay. And what is that in your hand?
A phone.
Okay, and was that taken at your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about there? Is that the same thing depicted?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, regarding the Fort Worth case, you said that you watched the trial up there. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess you stated that your brother didn't have a weapon. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he didn't harm anyone. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But somebody died up there as a result of the actions of your brother and his co-defendants. Isn't that fair to say?
As a result of my brother's co-defendants?
Like your brother and the co-defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess you've previously spoken out because your brother's co-defendants up in Fort Worth involved two female co-defendants. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and one of them, her name was Megan. Is that correct?
I guess so. I'm not sure.
You're not sure? That's fine. But you know that there were two females involved, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess you've previously spoken out because you don't agree with the way that the court systems have handled your brother. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
You don't agree with that.
I don't.
Okay. Now regarding the Fort Worth case, I mean, based on the evidence that you saw, isn't it true that your brother, enlisted these two females, and there was an agreement for the females to enter into a drug house, unlock the door, and then allow your brother and the other co-defendants to go in there? Is that correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
She testified she witnessed the trial.
Doesn't mean that she agrees with
Did
your
y'all
approach.
Proceed.
Thank you, Judge. So, up in Fort Worth, your brother was acting with multiple co-defendants. Is that correct?
Can you repeat that?
In the Fort Worth case, your brother had multiple co-defendants. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the evidence in that case was that your brother and his co-defendants, the two females, entered into a drug house. They texted your brother and the other co-defendants that were not yet in the house and told them to come in and females unlocked the door, and at that time your brother and his other male co-defendants entered the house to commit a robbery. Is that fair to say?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And isn't it true that your brother in that case searched the house for drugs to take?
Wrong.
No.
He didn't search a house.
He was in the home, isn't that correct?
He entered the home.
Okay, and he admitted to the Tarrant County Police Department that he was searching for drugs during the robbery. Isn't that correct?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Now, regarding the murder that we're here for today, I mean, you were not in San Antonio, Texas when that murder occurred, correct?
No, ma'am.
You were up in Arlington, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you weren't in the car, right?
No.
You have no personal knowledge as to the facts of the murder that we're here for today, right?
No.
Okay.
The case we just watched was in Texas too. That wasn't number 4 years before this one, 2013. This happened in 2017. Oh, yeah, we just got a two-tier justice system, man. That's all it is. Got a two-tier justice system. I bet I had to ride to the store, y'all. I had to get me a coffee. It's getting a little tired in this bitch. But I've been keeping up the whole time.
Now, I guess earlier you kind of said something that your brother liked to make music. I guess you would describe him as like a talented musician, is that correct?
He's artistic in a lot of different ways, drawing, music.
Regarding music?
Yes, music too.
Okay. And I guess, are you familiar with the song that he wrote called The Race?
Yes, ma'am.
Yo, this song should prejudice the motherfucking case. God damn, he wrote this song in 2017. It's 2025. Like, yo, this song shouldn't even be part of this case no more, y'all. All right, I get them using it in the first case. Yo, but 8 years later to still be on this song, like, come on now. Leave the song out.
And that song was released after the murder that we're here for today, correct?
Objection 403, Your Honor.
Alright, that objection will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
I don't remember the question.
The song The Race, it was released once your brother was apprehended in New Jersey, correct?
It was released after he was apprehended in New Jersey.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the song was released after the murder that occurred in San Antonio, Texas happened. Is that right?
If he was in New Jersey, then yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess regarding that song specifically, I mean, the lyrics of the song is that your brother was evading police. Isn't that correct?
Is that the lyrics of the song?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
You've never heard the song?
I have, but I mean, I can't tell you what a person meant unless it was me.
Well, I want to know what is your take on the lyrics? So.
Objection, speculation.
Alright, that objection will be sustained.
Motion to instruct the jury to disregard.
Ladies, the question has not been asked for them to disregard.
Understood, Your Honor.
And I guess at the time when your brother was in New Jersey, you're aware that he was posing in front of his wanted poster.
They know trapper down sentence no rhythm. I go live this way, we don't get down sentence no rhythm, but they ain't been sentence rhythm lately anyway, so that's why I said fuck it, I might as well switch back over.
Pictures in front of his wanted poster, right?
I don't even think it was a wanted a poster, so I'm not sure about that.
Alright, that will be overruled.
And I guess while your brother was on the run, isn't it true that SWAT went to your place looking for him multiple times?
Yes, they did.
Have you met with the defense team in preparation for your testimony today?
No, ma'am.
You've never talked with them on the phone?
About my testimony, no, ma'am. Or, sorry, I have, I thought you were saying like about my testimony or anything like that. I've answered questions,
Okay, so you guys have met.
talked on the phone.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And I guess regarding your brother, I mean, you've seen photos of him. Do you have knowledge of his affiliation with the Crips gang?
No, ma'am.
But you've seen photos of him during gang signs, is that correct?
Have I seen photos of him throwing gang signs?
Yeah, or videos?
We were foster kids. I don't really know a lot of gang signs myself, so I couldn't tell you
Okay.
what it is, sir.
So there's been testimony that multiple of your family members are gang members.
They didn't raise us.
Okay. So
Straight
your
up.
testimony is you're just not familiar with gang signs.
I'm not.
I want to call your attention to the interview that you gave to Say Cheese. Isn't it true in that video that you said your brother be hitting them things regarding?
Goddamn, say cheese. Yo, these motherfuckers is on everything, boy. Golly. Yo, they is on everything, yo. Open source research is in full effect. I'm trying to tell you, they watch everything like a fucking hawk.
Gang signs.
I said he be hitting them things.
Yeah.
I don't even recall my Say Cheese interview because I just answered questions, but I don't recall saying that. I'm not saying that I didn't.
And regarding that interview, I mean, were you paid for that interview or was it?
No, ma'am.
You were not paid for that.
No.
Noble forever what it is.
So I want to talk to you about some of the people that you said your brother was hanging out with back in the Tarrant County case. Is one of those people Jalen Bell?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah, so earlier when Mr. Hunter was asking you questions, you kind of talked about some of the people that Tamar was hanging out with that were a bad influence on him. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One of the people that he was hanging out with at that time was one of the people Jalen Bell.
Not sure, but
But you're aware that Jalen Bell and your brother were pretty close friends, correct?
yes,
Yo,
ma'am.
but see, this is the thing, yo, and this is the thing I've been saying about this whole trial the whole time. Yo, you gotta, I gotta know the makeup of this jury. I'm sure they probably all Hispanic. You probably got an 85% Hispanic jury. All Hispanic witnesses. All Hispanic police officers, forensic scientists. And you got the only black kid. Like, yo, this was an uphill battle from the jump. Only other black person in that goddamn room that's outside of TK family is the judge. And y'all know how judges is. You know, you really can't base their decision off of race at all. They just like police officers.
And you have personally, I mean, you've communicated with Jalen Bell before, correct?
Have I ever communicated with him before?
Through him or his girlfriend, Dara Sanders?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And sometimes they ask you for money, is that correct?
No, ma'am. I haven't talked to them in over 10 years.
So if there's a jail call saying that they talked to you and asked you for money from your brother, that's just not accurate.
You said it's a jail call of them asking me for money or saying that they did?
Saying that they did.
Well, they didn't. So I can't know what they said.
Okay. Now, regarding Jalen Bell, I mean, you're aware that he pled to ag robbery for his role in the aggravated robbery of Mark Saldivar, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your social media profile, or on Instagram, your social media name is @RealSpecialK, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't it true that on your bio you still have 3 pimpies?
I'm not sure. I've been having the same Instagram for over 15 years.
Yo, social media, bitch. God dang.
Trustees Exhibit P5. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a photo of your Instagram profile?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And just regarding the bio, can you read for me what it says here and here?
Free Tech Hey, free pimp, long live 2 Live.
Alright, thank you. I'm tendering to defense for inspection.
Yes, ma'am,
and I'm
too.
offering State's Exhibit P5.
Objection to proper impeachment.
Alright, like I see, Exhibit P5. Alright, parties for approach.
Yo, that's crazy. It's like, yo, the man already sentenced.
Not to do so, that fact cannot be taken by you as making an affirmative finding. Must be unanimous. That is, you must unanimously agree that the defendant either did or did not act under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause. In addition to imprisonment, an individual found guilty of the offense of murder may be punished by a fine not to exceed $10,000. And if you choose to assess a fine in addition to imprisonment, you will assess such fine and so state in your verdict. If you assess a fine, it is not paid to the victim or victims, if any, but it is paid into the registry of the court. If there is any evidence before you that the defendant may have committed an offense or act of misconduct other than the offense of which you have convicted him, you are instructed that you may use that evidence, if any, in assessing punishment in this case, but only if you find from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed such other offense or act of misconduct, if any. In the event you have a reasonable doubt as to whether any other such acts, if in the event you have a reasonable doubt as to whether any other such offense or act of misconduct was committed, or as to whether the defendant was involved in such other offense or act of misconduct, then you will wholly disregard the evidence, if any, which may relate to any such matter. When there is a possibility for a defendant to incur multiple punishments on separate offenses, whether those sentences run concurrently or consecutively, that is, at the same time or one after another, is a decision to be made by the court. You are instructed that the defendant may testify on his own behalf if he chooses to do so. But if he elects not to do so, that fact cannot be taken by you as a circumstance against him, nor prejudice him in any way. The defendant has elected not to testify in this punishment phase of trial, and you are instructed that you cannot and must not refer or allude to that fact throughout your deliberations or take it into consideration for any purpose whatsoever. Under the instructions herein given, it will not be proper for you in determining the penalty to be assessed to fix the same by lot, chance, any system of averages, or any other method than by a full, fair, and free exercise of the opinion of the individual jurors on the evidence admitted before you. The length of time for which defendant is in prison may be reduced by the award of parole. Under the law eligible in this case, the defendant will not become eligible for parole until the actual time served equals 1/2 of the sentence imposed, or 30 years, whichever is less.
Okay.
If the defendant is sentenced to a term of less than 4 years, the defendant must serve at least 2 years before the defendant is eligible for parole.
Okay, so that ain't bad. So he basically still got 55 years.
Eligibility
Well, not
for
basically
parole.
still got 55 years. But before that 55 years is up, well, after that 55 years is up, he should be eligible for parole.
Does not guarantee that parole
That's a
will
long
be
ass
granted.
time, though.
It cannot accurately be predicted how the parole law might be applied to this defendant because the application of that law will depend on decisions made by parole authorities. You may consider the existence of the parole law. You are not to consider.
If they'd have found him guilty of capital murder, he was getting a mandatory life sentence. They didn't find him guilty of capital murder. They found him guilty of first-degree murder. which is anywhere from 5 to 99 years in Texas.
Consider the manner in which the parole law may be applied to this particular defendant. Suitable forms are attached hereto for your verdict if you should care to use the same. However, such forms are not intended to influence you in any way in arriving at your verdict. In any event, your verdict must be unanimous, in writing, and signed by your presiding juror. Respectfully submitted, Judge Stephanie Boyd, 187 District Court, Bexar County, Texas. Are parties ready to proceed with closing?
State's right here.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State, you may proceed.
Will, you think anything funny, y'all?
Not all murders are created equal. That's probably the only thing that me and Mr. Hunter can agree about throughout this whole trial. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hunter is going to get up here in a couple of minutes and ask you to give the defendant 2 bodies for the price of 1. That is not justice, and you need to consider that in your deliberations. The defendant is charged with murder. His punishment range is 5 years to 99 years or life in the prison, and up to a $10,000 fine. The evidence in this case does not support a sentence of less than life. The defendant has taken an active role in the death of 2 individuals.
Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie. I could not be no prosecutor. Dude, they some bold motherfuckers, man. I couldn't do it. I swear I couldn't do it. Like, damn. Like, how the fuck you just say that? I mean, I get it. He committed a crime. He took a life. But I just couldn't say, you know, give him 99 years to life. You know, I would prefer, you know, if it was up to me, I would give him life. I don't know, y'all. I couldn't do that shit, though, bro. Like, yo, these some bold motherfuckers, boy. You gotta be a bold motherfucker to be a prosecutor.
Not only in this county, but in Tarrant County. And you all need to send a message to our community and to all other criminal defendants out there that they can't just come into Bexar County and do whatever they want.
Appeal to the community.
It's a plea for law enforcement. Overruled. Mr. Hunter is going to get up here and he's going to tell you the defendant is counting on you. But ladies and gentlemen, our community is counting on you. The family of Mark Anthony Saldivar is counting on you. Overruled. The evidence in this case does not support a finding for sudden passion at all. There's been no evidence that the defendant was acting under sudden passion.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, bro.
And when you are considering that, you need to look at the person or a person of ordinary temper. And what does that mean? Well, you need to look at the defendant and how he holds himself out in our community. And how is that? As a Long Beach insane crip that goes under the moniker of KK-47, that writes rap songs about evading police after committing 2 murders, that doesn't surrender himself to law enforcement, has to be apprehended in New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, that throws gang signs repping the folks and the...
Yo, like she's talking about like he's a fucking grown adult. Yo, post-murder, Take care to do anything outside of the normal of a 16-year-old kid. Yeah, but there's like she's relaying this message to the jury, like he my age. You know what I mean? Like he 30 plus. Like yo, he was fucking 16, man. He was 16. I guarantee if he was to do it all again, I'm talking about the murder and everything, I guarantee he won't do that song at 24 or 25, however old he is now.
Long Beach Crips. That's not a person that has an ordinary temperament. Even you heard from Dr. Fabian, he said that the defendant struggles with having an aggressive personality and he's more at risk than other individuals in our community. Now, regarding the role of parole, you may consider the existence of the parole law. The defendant's length of the sentence may be reduced by parole. And so that's something that you can consider. We don't know if he will get it. He will be eligible at halftime, and that's something that you need to consider during your deliberations.
I object to that last statement, Your Honor. That's
You may consider during your deliberations. Ladies and gentlemen, your verdict changes this community, and I want you to think about the evidence that you've seen in this case. What we know is that the defendant has played a role, one as a party, and two as the active shooter, and 2 murders. And he's taken no accountability for it. He comes up here and he's asking you all to take sympathy on him because he had a rough upbringing. And I do sympathize with that.
They just say, hey, that other little kid upbringing was great. And they sympathize like a motherfucker for that boy.
But that's a slap in the face to every other child of abuse that chooses to be a law-abiding citizen in our community. And it's not just one mistake, it's two intentional choices that he made. And you all need to consider that, seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, the only appropriate punishment verdict in this case is life.
Thank you, Your Honor. Opposing counsel, may it please the court. Ladies and gentlemen, the concept of community, I think, is an important place for us to start because it tells a certain story. The state wants you to come in here and send a message to the community, and a harsh message. But how do we send a message to the community to address the sorts of systemic problems that result in someone being the victim of child abuse, being snatched up and taken away to what is essentially a carceral institution, an orphanage where they can't leave, away from their parents, that locks these people up, that puts them in foster homes where they're mistreated, that confuses them about who are their caregivers, who are their providers, that bounces them around from disaster situation to disaster situation. You can blame parents, you can blame the overarching structure, but at the end of the day, we also, I think, have to look at ourselves. We have to look at what this society does. And we can all recognize, I hope, that what Kayla Beverly testified to, that she and her brother Tamor went through as children, is not doing what we expect of the foster system, of child protective services, of moms and dads.
I don't know, G-Man.
The societal...
G-Man, they be giving kids in Baltimore life all the time. 15, oh, you gotta be over 16. Over 16, you can get life. Now, under 16, it's a little different. But remember the little kid that killed the police officer, ran him over? They gave Shorty life plus 40 or something. He just turned 16.
Problems that we have to recognize these children are growing up in is all of our responsibility just as much as it is our responsibility here today to make a decision about how to punish Mr. McIntyre. It's an easy fix for us to all just say, of course, man died, life for a life, life in prison, goodbye. But that doesn't answer those questions. And this isn't just a situation where we can accept that a tragedy has occurred and forget about all the things that led before. I'm not suggesting to you that what Dr. Fabian testified about in punishment in this trial is an excuse for what Mr. McIntyre did. It isn't. And of course, there are ample examples of people who have had terrible childhood backgrounds, like Tamor's, worse than Tamor's, who don't go out and commit murder. But it would be silly not to acknowledge that there is a cause and effect relationship. And to completely ignore that is all you'd be doing by giving a verdict of life in prison. You'd be abdicating any other bit of responsibility for how this tragedy played out. How it played out when he was a small child. How it played out when he was 10 years old. How it played out when he was 14 and 15. How it played out when a 16-year-old boy was expected to provide for himself and make his way in the world as though he was an adult. And it wouldn't account for the travesty that it is that we are sitting here in an adult court prosecuting a man for a felony as though he were 38 years old, 40 years old.
Exactly, man.
They should have known better. They should have understood all of these things. Again, I'm not saying that there isn't an appreciation of right and wrong, but you understand that we have here a perfect storm of factors that ask for these kinds of things to transpire.
That's a fact.
And we need to make sure that the verdict that we deliver in this case is measured to that it acknowledges that this is a tragedy for a lot of different reasons, and only one of them was decided when that light changed from green to red on the access road of 410. That's the timing we're talking about. A decision that was made in that little span of time, impacting the rest of Mr. McIntyre's life and ending Mark Saldivar's life. And that tragedy, as I said to you in opening statement, cannot be undone, but we can avoid turning one tragedy into two. I'm asking for your mercy. I'm asking for your measured consideration of the evidence. And I'm asking you to think about some of the things that we talked about in the guilt-innocence phase of this trial as well, because those are still relevant factors. Irrespective of the fact that those things didn't lead you to the conclusion that he was not guilty, let's just understand what we're talking about here. We have a 16-year-old boy in a car with a bunch of people who are 2, 3, 4 years older than him. And out of that scenario, we have this entangled romantic situation. You hear evidence that goes uncontroverted. In fact, it's after 2 or 3 attempts at trying to conceal it that we tease out of Joanna Reyes the fact that she was flirting with this man on Instagram, that she was discussing with him a very provocative photo shoot, that this was something where they have had a history together, that they know each other from back in high school, that she's blocked him for making advances on her and soliciting her for photographs in the past. And the man gets into the car, and all of a sudden, this photo shoot is called off or it's rescheduled. Okay,
Set it up.
That's the evidence. And the state doesn't provide you.
The girl set it up and then was able to tell. And she ain't facing no jail time damn near. Because the whole time she was out on bond, they gonna count that against her sentence. Her max is 10 years. She been out on bond for 8.
With a competing narrative of that. So even if you accept that Joanna Reyes is telling the truth, that Mr. McIntyre killed this man, and you accept that he did it for whatever reason, the bottom line is that Joanna Reyes got that man into the car, and that man had one thing and one thing only on his mind. And his decision to abort the photo shoot, to not go through with it, to act weird about it, provoked this issue. And again, I'm not trying to blame Mark for this. I just think we need to understand that Joanna Reyes shaved the tinder into the campsite. She poured the lighter fluid on the tinder, and she throws the match onto it, and now is trying to pretend that that didn't happen. And I think that that evidence is important for you all to consider for 2 reasons. The first is, it's the only evidence that you know about the true accounting of what happened in that car. Throughout both phases of the trial, that's the information you're possessed with. Well, in my mind, that evidence points us to sudden passion. It's the only evidence that we have about the transpirings of that car. So I would submit to you that's the great weight and preponderance of the evidence that's before you. And it suggests that there was a provocation for Mr. McIntyre's behavior. It's not a justified reason to kill somebody. It's inexcusable, losing your temper like that. But we have to couch it in terms of the whole context of what we're here to talk about. We're talking about a 16-year-old boy. We're talking about someone who doesn't have a fully formed brain. We're talking about someone whose decision-making skills and whose understanding of reality is tempered not just by post-traumatic stress from having an abusive childhood, but by the fact that he was intoxicated, or at least partially intoxicated. By the fact that he's had systemic problems with drug abuse as a child. We have to understand things as they relate to that. And we have to ask ourselves whether or not any of that should be considered at all as a matter of mitigation. This isn't some grown man who lost himself in the bottle and did something in a blackout rage. This is a child whose entire world was shaped by circumstances that were mostly out of his control.
That's a fact.
And now, at a moment where we freely acknowledge he exercised his own control and made a decision that was terrible, we're going to bring the hammer down on him and send him away for the rest of his life. Folks, let's try to be a more reasonable society. Let's try to make this courthouse, the juvenile justice system, Child Protective Services, something other than a killing floor. We know that these
Yo, I ain't
problems
gonna
are
lie,
plaguing
yo.
our society.
His lawyer's doing it. His lawyer did a great job this whole trial. Even though he lost, he did a good job at defending TK from these charges.
We know that these problems are creating the risks and the jeopardy that these kinds of events will take place.
Motherfuckers definitely gotta do jury duty, man. Black people gotta stop neglecting jury duty. Gotta stop neglecting. That one black juror saved YNW Melly life when they was ready to railroad him and charge and sentence him for a crime that the evidence didn't speak to. Black people gotta stop avoiding jury duty, man.
But this is where we sit. I think it's very important that we understand
supposed to
what
be
we
an
talk
army.
about with a message to the community. It really is that. At the bottom line, what the state wants us to do is to be able to say that this is a classic example that they did their job. We put a man away for life in prison because of a brutal murder. And it's not just one, it's two. This guy's been to prison before. And he's a bad guy, and he's written rap songs, and he's a member of the Long Island, or the Long Beach Insane Crips. Whatever they want to say about it, there's a propagandist function to the request that they're putting to you. Don't do it. Don't be a shill for the state's own apologetics. They're asking you to whitewash over their own failures. Our failures as a society. We're all in this together. And participating in it only at the end of the story, participating in it only when we get to come down and pass final judgment, is a cop-out. A message can go both ways. And I would submit to you, if we're going to send a message, that's a better one to send. Because it's very core. It's a message that communicates mercy, forgiveness, moving forward, recognizing that this person, Mr. McIntyre, is also a human being, that his dignity is just as important as the deceased, as Mark Saldivar's. That's just the reality of it. We can couch it in terms of right and wrong, we can point the finger, we can blame, but every human being has that same level of dignity. The Bill of Rights doesn't have an asterisk that says except for convicted criminals. Our founders recognized the inherent dignity of every single person. That's why we have these procedures. That's why we have these laws. And that is also why you all have such a wide range of punishment. There's a lot for you to consider here. I want you to also just consider again, to go back to it, that while you have rejected self-defense, and I understand that what we are critically talking about here is a bad decision in the face of a pretty significant circumstance. Defense exhibit number 5 is still in evidence, and it's still something I want you to go back and look at. And you're going to see that shattered windshield. And you're going to understand that this is what is being experienced by this boy in this moment. Are we right to say it's not good enough? That's not an acceptable reason to pull a gun on someone? Sure, I think that we can say that that's unacceptable. But we also have to understand that that's something that goes towards his decision making, and that this is a decision that happens in the blink of an eye. Milliseconds. Well, now we're here sitting here talking about years. Many, 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 many years. You've heard about Mr. McIntyre cutting his ankle monitor while on bond for a murder. You've also heard some testimony that Mr. McIntyre is not the trigger man in that case. Mr. McIntyre didn't act alone. Mr. McIntyre was in the company.
I told you that. They gave him 55 years in that case. He didn't need to pull the trigger, man. I think he caught damn near more time than everybody in that first case.
Older people who were bad company, who are creating problems for him. There seems to be a theme here. Falling in with the wrong crowd, falling in with older people, and trying to take their direction. Before we can say that that doesn't merit any consideration and what punishment to give him, we need to be asking ourselves, where were all of us? Where were we as a society? How did we end up here?
I definitely want
Why are we letting these types of people have to depend upon the guidance, the counsel, and the decision-making of older criminals for their only source of support, for their only guidance, for how they're brought up, for their introduction to how to intoxicate themselves, what to do with their lives, how to behave, how to create, how to express. It's not acceptable. This is a weighty choice because I fully understand everything the state's going to get up here and tell you and everything the state said. Mark is a human being. Mark was entitled to that dignity. Tamor took it from him. That's worth something. I'm not suggesting it isn't.
Let's get to
I'm just asking you to balance that against everything else that needs to be considered. Lastly, I want to talk to you about something.
Get to the sentencing.
All right, so the advocate is going to be saying victim impact on behalf of the mother. What I can tell you in this courtroom, I always require everybody to treat everybody with respect. I know that this is a very emotional case for everyone, but I want the deputies to have an easy time this evening. And I just want everyone to please keep your emotions at this level, although I understand there's a lot of emotions going on both sides.
Remember, he was the youngest one in the whole situation.
All right. And what is the cause number of the case out of the other? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the court's understanding that you've reached a verdict. Is that correct? Yes. And is that verdict unanimous?
Yes.
All right, Deputy Laura. Thank you. All right. It states that we unanimously find that the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, did not cause the death of Anthony Saldivar under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. It states that punishment to be assessed at 80 years in the prison, and there's no fine. Does anyone wish to have the jury poll?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm first going to start with your unanimous decision stating that there was no finding of sudden passion. If that is your verdict, I'll need you to respond yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
We'll start on the end. Is this your verdict? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Oh.
I'm on the back row. I'm sorry. Is this your verdict on the back row? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? With regards to the sentence of 80 years in the prison
7
and
women
no fine, if
and
this
5 men.
if this is your verdict, I need you to answer yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
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 Back row, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
So,
All right.
so in Texas, he get paroled after 30 years. Now I don't know if the first 55 years is that with parole or not. But in order for me, man, they're not giving that boy parole, man. I ain't gonna lie. They damn, that shit crazy. Damn, shorty.
Ladies ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have you go back to the jury room, and I'll meet you back there shortly.
No, ain't no one
Everyone,
back
please
door
rise
inside.
for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, Mr. McIntyre, the jury found you guilty of murder. Your punishment is to be assessed at 80 years in the prison. The court will give you credit for any time served. There's a $0 fine. And with regards to the other offense, State, are you requesting that to be stacked?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
And I'm assuming you're against that, is that correct?
We are, Your Honor. We would just like to briefly, for the record, maintain that our argument would be that to run consecutively an 80-year sentence on top of 50.
Just one moment, counsel. Just give me one moment. Mr. McIntyre, I want you to know that I listened to all of the evidence in punishment and thought about whether or not your sentence should be stacked. I don't know where your mom is, don't know where your father is. I know that you had a rough childhood. And I do know that these offenses occurred when you were very young. And I understand the state of the law, what people consider an adult. I listened to the testimony of the expert that was brought by defense counsel. You've already been sentenced to murder in the other county, and then you have a murder here. And the sentence for 55 years, that's a stiff sentence. This 80-year sentence is a stiff sentence. And these are cases where you have to serve half your time, and that's day for day time, and I recognize that. Hopefully you will grow, but based upon his age, based upon the number
All right,
of years
he eligible for parole after 30. He eligible for parole after 30, which will put him at what, 46? Yeah, but they don't be trying to get niggas parole, man. I ain't gonna lie, like, his age might help him. He got to start of trouble. Probably get in some type of programs, go to school, get his GED, take some type of workshop. He gonna have to do a lot, man, but damn.
has received out of Tarrant County and the number of years that he's received here, based upon his history and the lack of any type of good parenting. From what I can tell, his mother wasn't a good parent to him. His father wasn't a good parent to him. Child Protective Services was not good. And if you believe the testimony, I don't know why Child Protective Services would place children back with a father who put the children's mother in the hospital. Is there something else that needs to be done with our society? Yes. Is more money needed for Child Protective Services and their workers? Yes. And I do realize that while this is a lot of time, and I tell people all the time, any time that you do in custody is a lot of time. But by that same token, you're still alive. And what the state has said is true. You're still alive. You can still better yourself. If you end up in prison for the rest of your life, you're still alive. You still can improve yourself. Your family can.
I ain't gonna lie, Judge. Fuck that. What you talking about? Hey, yo, I would rather die than do life in prison, yo. You might as well just kill me. That's why I be telling you shit like, yo, I can't cop out to no 30, no 40. Yo, you got to sentence me to that. You feel me? Like, fuck that. Fuck life. Kill me. I'd rather get the chill. I'd rather do 20 years on death row and die. than spending 40 fucking 50 years in prison. Fuck that shit.
Still visit you, but the complainant in this case is deceased. And you
For
need
real,
to
but
internalize
fuck that. She
that the
tripping.
complainant in this case is deceased and that his family is never going to see him again. So you're going to have to make changes. And you're going to have to remove people from your life who are not of benefit in the means of making you a better person. And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison. They join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself. You're young, but you're going to have to make better choices. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to sentence him to 80 years in the prison, give him credit for any time served. There is a $0 fine. This will run concurrent with 1511547D. And is there any, I don't know if there's any restitution.
Judge, we would ask you for restitution to the family.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Restitution to the family. Now they trying to take his money. God damn.
Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
Not for this one.
Deceased. And you need to internalize that the complainant in this case is deceased and that his family is never going to see him again. So you're going to have to make changes. And you're going to have to remove people from your life who are not of benefit in the means of making you a better person. And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison. They join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself. You're young, but you.
Damn, man. They gave that boy an 80 piece. But like I said, the sentence is 30 years or 40 years or half the sentence, whichever come first. So Banzo, he got 55 years. He'll be out with the 80. He'll be out for parole after 30.
Damn. Restitution.
Ain't like that in Maryland.
Any
Maryland, he gonna do 85% of that motherfucker.
Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
Not for this one.
All right, did you read the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you do have a right to appeal as this was a jury trial. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and also there's an affirmative finding of deadly weapons.
Judge, if you just ask for continued contact order within the next 2 minutes.
Well, I guess I should say there should be no contact with the family outside of legal for the civil matters, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's to be no contact with the complainant's family outside of legal proceedings. All right, is there anything else from either side?
No, for this one.
All right, Mr. McIntyre, yes.
No, nothing else from the defense.
All right, Mr. McIntyre, there's going to be what is called a victim impact statement. I want you to listen to it, internalize what's being said. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may proceed.
Damn. Yo, they don't be playing. They don't be playing no games with black people on court, man. For real. Well, the good thing is she ain't She ain't run a sentence consecutive. She definitely could have. Damn, yo. That's still a long ass time. 30 piece. Oh, dang. Fucking 30 piece. I bet if I was to read the comments on here's hella black people like he deserve it. They should have gave him life plus 40. Black people's crazy, man. Damn. So Boston Richie got locked up by the feds. You fuck around, can't tell us about it is. He's locked up in a federal institution in his hometown of Tallahassee. Why is he locked up in the feds doing a probation violation? That's crazy. He a rat anyway. I don't give a fuck about y'all. His ass told in the last case to get out of it. Y'all see this Mo 3 brother? Talking about rainwater. I don't trust rainwater, y'all. I ain't gonna go too far into depth in it, but rainwater suspect is a bitch. Listen to your brother talk about rainwater though.
But I asked him the other day just to hear him say it publicly, because he ain't gonna say it on these channels. He gonna say it on that sector.
Yeah.
If you wasn't getting paid for 3, did you say your partner would you still be pushing him?
about
He
it.
like, no. And it's like, you would do that, bro. You would do that. He just said they made 12 million. You get 20% of that. Anybody would do that. We can get the top fucking manager in the game. They gonna do that because it's gonna reap benefits. You know what I'm saying? He do his job. Don't get me wrong. He do his job.
Yeah,
but I asked him the other day.
I told y'all Maryland lock up more black men per capita than any other state. Like people like to talk about how racist the South is, and yo, Maryland locks up more black men than any other state per capita, man. Maryland. A lot of people don't know that. You can look it up if you think I'm lying.
Hear him say it publicly, because he ain't gonna say it on these channels. He gonna say it on that sector.
Yeah.
If you wasn't getting paid for 3, did you say your partner would you still be pushing him? He like, no. And it's like, you would do that, bro. You would do that. He just said they made 12 million. You get 20% of that. Anybody would do that. We can get the top fucking manager in the game. They gonna do that because it's gonna reap benefits. You know what I'm saying? He do his job. Don't get me wrong. He do his job. But I asked him the other day just to hear him say.
Yo say if if excuse me, damn. They said if he wasn't getting paid for Mo 3, would he still be pushing him? Rainwater said no. Rainwater not no friend of yo, man. Hey yo, y'all remember how Hassan Campbell said this?
It's like
yo, Hassan Campbell wild as a motherfucker. He need to explain this shit.
everybody know a pedophile. In this room right now, if we really turned on there's somebody in this room. It's probably 3 niggas that's fucking children.
Nah, we ain't doing that.
Hopefully not.
We ain't doing that.
Hey yo,
It's like everybody.
what the fuck was Hassan? Hey yo, Hassan Campbell be saying anything. Yo, that is a wild ass statement. Even Wack goofy ass couldn't stand by that. Yo said, no, we ain't doing that. Motherfucker CST back was like, fuck no. Yo, crazy. Yo, did y'all know about this rapper right here? DJ the rapper. Yo died in a car accident today.
One person is dead and several others are in the hospital right now after a serious crash in Midtown. Police say this crash happened a little after 10 a.m. here at the intersection of Piedmont Avenue and Monroe Drive. Atlanta police say multiple vehicles were involved, including one found pinned under the tractor trailer you see there. Two women and 3 men were taken to the hospital, and police said they were all in critical condition. Well, unfortunately, since then, we've learned one person has died. We'll keep you updated just as soon as we learn more. One person is dead and several others are in the hospital.
Yeah, they say eventually somebody else died too. Sure, they had like 100,000. He from Nashville, had like 100,000 followers on Instagram. So look, Dallas PD confirms they are still investigating the tragic shooting death of popular South Dallas native and comedian Roy Lee. Y'all know that? They still investigating your shit because of the internet, blaming people and shit. Cause I want to watch this. So y'all remember the No Savage situation?
But we gonna that response. Oh,
where he got into it with the dude
get into
in Tyson Corner.
nigga don't.
So he finally addressed the situation. And mind you, the little dude that he got into it with, I think he locked up now too. I thought that was some sucker ass shit to put that boy in that type of situation. Now, you gotta be able to control yourself. But yo was antagonizing the shit out yo in the mall. He wound up shooting in the mall and shit. Now he made out like a motherfucker. Guess I think it was in Virginia. It wasn't in DC. That's what really helped him.
I don't really want no smoke no more when that gun come out. I leave. I'm walking. I'm leaving. As I'm walking and leaving, a nigga. I don't know who. I don't know who the fuck it was. All I know is a nigga come around the corner, two-handed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I see. I look. I see that shit, like, I see that shit, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't, you know what I'm saying? But I see, so I'm like, oh, I'm like, that don't look right, you hear me? So I look harder, and damn sure, that's what it was. So I got the blowing, like, I got the blowing. Got the blowing. First of all, nigga don't really want no smoke no more when that gun come out. I leave. I'm walking. I'm leaving. As I'm walking and leaving, a nigga. People saying I crashed. So for all the people who said I crashed out, this for all the people who said No Savage crash. If you was in the mall and you went to the mall with a female, not only a female, but a female you call Lil Sis that you genuinely got love for. She knows she is. I love you to death. You know what it is with us. You know what it is. Congratulations on the baby, baby. So proud of you. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is with us. Got you forever. Just imagine somebody walking up to you and a female like this, like you and your little sister. You tight. So the first thing you tell them is, I'm tight, buddy, woo woo. And the next response is, oh, we got switches, or woo woo. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not faking. That response, that reply, scared me. I'm telling you the truth. But we gonna get into people saying I crashed. So for all that response, oh, we got switches on us, cause I ain't got no switch. I know what switches do. I know how switches sound, and I know what the fuck they do. Ain't no ducking, no switch up close, buddy. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. I got scared, Mari. I start clutching that pistol. I don't give a fuck about nothing. You hear me? I ain't care about none of that. Nothing. I don't even give a fuck about nothing. I'm gonna tell you that right now, and I'm not capping nothing. Once I thought I was about to get hit with a switch, I ain't give a fuck.
Shorty banged that bitch in the middle of the mall. He was tripping. But hey, if it happened like how it happened, shit, what the fuck? What I mean? I just thought Shorty was flawed for putting him in that type of situation. Y'all remember that video, right? Did we gotta go to it?
About nothing. I promise you. You can throw all that out the window, you know what I mean? Okay, one thing about me, I promise you. You do that, I'ma get right with your ass. Soon as you think that, you ain't doing that with me. Fuck no. Fuck no, that shit hurt. That shit hurt. Fuck is you talking about? And then imagine a switch. That shit go. Look at Savage, baby. Me getting hit by that. Boy, that shit did, boy. That response. Oh.
y'all remember your situation, right? Let's see if I can find it. No Savage shooting in Tyson's Corner. Let me see if I can pull it up. ain't respect Shorty even putting y'all in that situation for real. Hit that like button, y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you new. Share the live, yo. We gotta start sharing the lives, yo, cause you know how YouTube doing this right now. So the only way we gonna get new people is if we share the lives. Other than that, we ain't getting no new people. I gotta start doing some uploads. Yeah, he made out. If he was in DC or Maryland, he'd have been fucked over. And so he was in Virginia, he made out.
Look at his bitch ass. Look at his bitch ass.
Reach on my son, I'm a crush. On Ock, 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 I'm a crush. Yeah, out this motherfucker. Crush your ass.
Chipping in the ball.
Stop running, I'm gonna bust your
Oh, he'd have been done. He died on the mills.
Chipping in the ball.
Alright, what's up, y'all? It's 202 and as you just seen in the previous video, shout out to Murder Mayhem DC. No Savage is in it. I said, I got some of his songs on. Tell them dudes go outside. And then do all active baller is cut.
It's another video. We actually fired that bitch. Here you go right here.
An emotional court hearing in Fairfax County ended with an applause. Family and friends of 23-year-old rapper Noah Settles learned his fate.
You might remember him as the man who started shooting inside a busy Tyson's Corner Center on Father's Day last year. The Commonwealth says some shoppers are still too scared to return to the mall. Our Matthew Torres was there as prosecutors requested a sentence far beyond the guidelines.
Today, Noah Settles read a letter apologizing to everyone inside Tyson's Corner the day he fired those 3 gunshots. Even though no one was hurt because of disregard to human life, the prosecution says he deserved 15 years behind bars. Instead, a Fairfax County judge handed down the mandatory minimum sentence of 3 years. Relieved family and friends walked out cheering and singing.
I knew God was good. I knew justice was going to be served today.
Settles is a rapper known by his stage name No Savage. He was convicted for firing his gun inside Tyson's Corner Center on Father's Day last year, sending dozens of shoppers scrambling for safety. Settles apologized and referenced being a father to a 2-year-old boy who was in the courtroom, saying, quote, "I want to apologize to any child who experienced that."
He was wrong to carry the weapon into the mall.
I ain't
Our
get killed.
citizens
Hell no.
have a right when they go to the mall to feel a certain level of security when you go to the mall. We understand that. They came there to antagonize Mr. Settles and attack him.
Authorities say he had a dispute with a rival gang known as White Shirts. They came up to him and recorded this video. Another camera angle captures a tussle as Settles is seen holding a gun. They dispersed, but moments later, one White Shirt member began walking towards Settles with a gun right before shots rang out. His defense argues
so he
his
right.
mind was
I ain't never
first
seen that video
provoked and
before.
antagonized, saying, quote, "Noah panicked in a negative way."
The only thing Mr. Settles wanted to do was get
Shit.
out the mall.
I don't blame him, y'all. You got to make it home. You got to make it home. Shorty came clutching. What the fuck you expect him to do? Judge did the right thing in this situation. Shit, I got to make it home at all costs. If it come down to who making it home, I got to make it home, man. So if it means you won't, then that's how it's gonna have to go.
Those 3 shots as a means to escape.
But prosecutors argued Settles had opportunities to exit if he was actually scared. The Commonwealth says, "We don't give someone a pass for not being able to aim. If anything he was in fear of was he didn't want to appear weak." Commonwealth attorney Steve Descano still believes the request for 15 years was appropriate.
Mr. Settles re-engaged a number of times when he easily could have disengaged. He made the conscious decision to pull the trigger multiple times.
Do you think he's remorseful?
I don't know. I would hope so.
And on top of his 3-year sentence, there is also a 5-year probation. On top of that, he is no longer allowed to step foot inside Tyson's Corner Center.
Man, they backed his
In
ass
Fairfax,
that's fucked up. It's nice doors in that mall. gave my man a lifetime ban. That shit crazy. I ain't never see the video of the guy walking up on him clutching. First time I seen that. But something had to give. But they trying. Look, they threatening the judge now. And Carmelo Anthony case. Racist ass Fresco. Racist ass Fresco, Texas. Beefs up security and threats of abusing on him on house arrest. Yo, that shit gonna get bad in that bitch if once he beat this case.
All right. Come on, just follow back behind us. Just stay close, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
And we begin tonight with a major update on the deadly stabbing at a high school track meet.
Carmelo Anthony is charged with killing Austin Metcalf on April 2nd in Frisco, and he just walked out of jail 90 minutes ago.
All right, yo. So let's get back to the regular schedule program. So have y'all seen Travis Hunter, man? Travis Hunter said if he can't play both sides of the ball, he don't even want to play football. Yeah, he on some not want to play football shit, man. Where the fuck is this shit at? I can't even fucking find it. Did y'all see that? Do y'all think Travis Hunter can play both sides of the ball in the NFL in this day and age? I know Deion Sanders did it. But this is a different time, man. He said he always played. Travis Hunter said he would rather retire than not be able to play both wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL. I don't know, yo. And Deion Sanders is backing him. Deion Sanders backing him. So it say Travis Hunter is unlike any NFL draft prospect we've seen in years. He's just a star. He's not just a star wide receiver and a lockdown corner. He's both at an elite level. In fact, he made history last season as the only FBS player since 1978 to rack up over 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, and at least 3 interceptions in the same season. As teams met with him ahead of the draft, Hunter is making one thing crystal clear. He is not interested in playing just one position. The NFL team told him to choose between offense and defense. He said he will walk away from football entirely. That's how committed he is to being a two-way player. In 2024 alone, he played 713 snaps on offense and 748 on defense, showing insane durability and versatility. He knows the NFL was tougher, but he's confident he can handle both mentally and physically. The mental part, he says, is actually harder than the physical toll. But he's been coached by Deion Sanders, arguably the best corner of all time, so he's in good hands. Deion backs him too. At Colorado's Pro Day, Coach Prime said Hunter is perfectly built for the NFL, pointing out that the pro game is slower paced, with longer breaks between plays compared to the frantic tempo of college football. That should help Hunter thrive on both sides of the ball. Stats back him up. In 2024, he led the country in total snaps played, 1,484, and still managed to finish top 5 in the nation in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, while also nabbing 4 interceptions and forcing a fumble. What y'all think about that? I don't know, yo. He said he gonna retire. You think so? So if they don't put him on both sides of the ball, you think he'll really retire? I think that'd be wild. I think that'd be wild. Yo, did y'all see what's going on with Offset and motherfucking Cardi B and all this shit? So rumor has it that Offset fucked Ari while she was with Moneybagg Yo. Moneybagg Yo, wild as shit. Ain't no way she'll still be with me. I don't understand that dynamic. Yo, once you man, fuck that. I find out my girl fucking somebody else, that shit is over. It's never. You can't come back from that. Like certain shit, you just can't come back from. So I say coming to a woman as a woman or telling on a woman to a man gotta be top tier, corniest, most miserable bitches alive. I kept it P. I ain't tell the world she was talking about Cardi. So Cardi is going back and forth for the blogger like she always does. I ain't ready to read that shit. Cause it's a whole bunch of feminist shit. But that's fucked up. I ain't gonna lie. That's wild. So did y'all hear D.L. Hughley? This might be the only time in life I ever agree with D.L. Hughley. D.L. Hughley or Luigi Mangione, if I were a jury, I might find them not guilty. See, but this is the type of shit I be talking about. This two-tiered system. So, y'all know he killed that healthcare worker or the healthcare owner because of their predatory practices. Defend, deny, and what is it? Defend, deny, and whatever the fuck they was using. So D.L. Hughley was on TMZ. And like I said, this might be the only time I ever agreed with him. Because I think he's a Democratic plant that only gets called on to speak against black people that jump out of line. But yo, with this take, I agree with him. Like, what's worse? Like, yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, they only want to consider murder when it's beneficial. But it's a lot of murdering going on out this bitch. I mean, it's a lot of criminals out here, yo, that go unchecked, unnoticed, don't do no time, or none of that. You feel me? So listen to this conversation D.L. Hughley had with TMZ.
It's interesting because 2 years ago that would have been Kyle Rittenhouse. So it's interesting. So if we're going to be consistent about people who resort to violence, then we need to, and then our later line out, we need to make sure. Also, we live in a country right now where 10 years ago, 12 years ago, a black man tried to get this country the very healthcare that the healthcare CEOs in jeopardy for, and their prescription was to call him a treasonous and to resort to threatening violence against him. So this is clearly America. And that is always our default position. And we've accepted it. We accept that our schools have to have mass shooter drills. We accept this as a matter of parlance, as a matter of practice. And now to pretend as if all of a sudden some America's acting any differently is really disingenuous.
But hold on, but D.L., there's a difference there, right? I mean, you're right that America has accepted all sorts of violence, but that doesn't mean that we have to celebrate someone, the image of someone pointing a gun to the back of someone's head and shooting them and killing them. Why are we celebrating that? That's now we've reached a different level, right? I
don't know that we've reached this. I will say this: that very man was responsible for writing an algorithm that denied coverage to tens of thousands of people. He enriched the company.
Hold on. What's the recourse? Let's say that's true, and that may well be true. Then the question is, what's the recourse? Because if the recourse is shooting him in the back, we are no longer even remotely a civilized society. You may be right, but
yo, America was built on criminality, man. America is the biggest criminals in the fucking world. Like they be tripping me out when they try to paint this narrative of I don't even know what you call it, but I know what I say and I know what I see. I see criminals all over this motherfucker. You feel me? Like, that's all I ever seen. That's since I've been knowing what's been going on. It's a lot of criminals out here, man. It's a lot of murdering that goes unsolved and goes unchecked, even when they know where it came from. So we gonna call it fair, we ain't gonna call it at all. And that's why I feel about this situation. If we ain't gonna call it fair, yo, I ain't gonna call it at all. And I'm gonna keep it real. If they was moving like that, predatory like that, it's some people in the world that think he probably deserved to die. Now, is it right to play judge, jury, and executioner? No. But do America do it daily? Yeah. So I don't really give a fuck if it's right or not.
But are you saying that's the recourse?
I am saying that you give a nation that is drug addled and angry, and the one freedom that no one has that has been expanded in America is the freedom to own having unfettered access to guns. So you take an angry society that feel like they have no recourse. This is going to happen a lot. But I will say this: I can hold in my head two things.
Right,
I can hold
we
my
never
head
been civilized.
the idea that a man is shot down in the middle of the streets, but I can also hold in my hand. And I feel bad for that. But men like him, who have the job that he has, as a matter of practice, deny coverage and health care.
Hold up, y'all. That should not moving right.
So whether a person dies by a pen or a pistol, I think that I can hold in my heart sympathy for both men. But as a matter of practice, this industry, as a matter of practice, what is it? Delay, deny, defend. To enrich themselves off the pain and suffering of people, there is going to be a recourse. There's going to be a reckoning, and to pretend like it isn't is really disingenuous to me. This man was responsible for enriching that company by the suffering of other people, and it is sad as it isn't shocking.
But is it justified in any respect?
I tell you what, if I can only be honest with you, if I were on a jury hearing this trial, I would have to listen. I wouldn't be able to just say that my mind was made up. I think that I am sympathetic to the idea that people have gotten so frustrated with this industry, and there's no recourse, and nobody ever hears them. That this is what we come to. So DL, I would have a hard time listening to not being fair with it.
What you're saying is, if you're on this jury, the strategy, if Luigi's attorneys take this strategy and put the healthcare system on trial, that you would, as a juror,
be open to finding him not guilty,
despite the evidence that would also be presented that he walked up to this man on camera.
Look, he did it. Right. So are you saying that you put
that there's a justification that
you put his motivation on the stand, which is what you talked about with the algorithm? You would be inclined to find him not guilty?
Let me tell you something, man. I just watched 1,500 people do something in front of in plain sight, and they were summarily dismissed. They have no. So we live in a country that decides.
See, yo, that's the shit I be talking about, yo. Like, yo, people be acting like they don't know what's going on. Like, yo, people only care about criminals when they want to care about criminals. People only care about murder when they want to care about murder. Like I said, meanwhile, it's a lot of shit going on, y'all. Yo, we can talk about the pharmaceutical industry. Mass murderers. Nobody gets in trouble. Nobody face any consequences. Yo, but people act like that shit don't exist. And that's the shit that be blowing my mind when I be hearing these arguments. It's like, yo, is you fucking serious? Like, yo, you can't be serious. Man.
It's really Kyle Reynolds murders two people. He goes on tour, enriches himself on tour. Luigi Mangione, he murdered somebody, and they're both, in my estimation, murderers. But one is lionized, one is criminalized, and they did exactly the same thing. And they both felt like they had noble causes. So what is wrong with us that we decide to ascribe whatever violence we agree with, deity, and the other one we don't?
Well, but you're no. You're talking about
two wrongs make a right.
And you're right. You're also talking about one.
Yo, if goddamn it fucked it over. Yo, if murder is murder. Like, why we try to nitpick which one? Yo, if murder is murder, then that's what the fuck we need to call it as. That's just how I see that shit, man. I fucked it up. I ain't going back to it. But basically, say I might find him not guilty. I might too. If I was on the jury, I would have to listen as well. I ain't gonna lie. That's me being totally honest about the whole situation. I would have to listen. Cause them damn insurance companies be playing games. But this nigga blocked me. All these niggas be blocking me on Instagram, man. Hold up, yo. Yo, what the fuck, yo? Niggas be blocking me and shit. Oh no, here you go. Yeah, so I ain't really had too much to say about Wack 100 other than the fact he's still a rat.
Talking on the net, nigga, do.
So that's the crazy thing about it. So this IBM hoodlum dude is cool with Loose Cannon. But he calls Wack a rat. But Loose Cannon is cool with Wack. He talks to him daily. Like, I swear, yo, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here. Yo, but it's so confusing because I don't think we'd ever seen no shit like this before. All I can say is something ain't right. Real think everything funny, man. Real live in a motherfucking a wild world where everything is funny, nothing is serious. I think he's been a victim too many times, to be honest. That's when you become a victim the whole life. You end up like DJ Academics or Poetic Flock or you know what I mean, or one of those guys, like one of those victimization type niggas. I mean, you Charleston White, you just build a certain level of hate for everybody. You know what I mean? I see a Wack 100 still trying to defend itself. Sure he is. Oh, yo, shit, I forgot about Diddy. So, before I get the Wack 100 goofy ass. So, Diddy, Brian Steele then ended the motherfucking Diddy defense team. And a lot of people was upset that Brian Steele decided to help Diddy. Diddy is getting up for a fight, y'all. Y'all remember when people were saying, yo, Diddy gonna take a plea deal? What I tell y'all? Man, Diddy ain't taking a motherfucking plea deal. Like, yo, it was so much misinformation that was ran against Diddy that nobody is taking accountability for. Like, yo, if you sit back, yo, remember all the lies and shit that was told? Yo, Diddy taking the plea. Diddy going snitch. It was just so much. Yo, why is this? Why am I fuck? It's not everything I said. Yo, it was so much bullshit. And none of it is true. None of it is true. Young Thug Rico trial lawyer Brian Steele requests courts grant permission for him to appear as Diddy legal counsel. Yo, Diddy got a motherfucking dream team of lawyers. I'm trying to tell you, Diddy. Hey, real, get ready to give me my money, Nick. That man got a fucking dream team of lawyers, man. That man's ready to beat the shit out this case. Dream team. So it's a pursuant to rule 1-3I of the local rules of the United States Courts of the Southern Eastern District of New York, Brian Steele hereby moves this court for an order of admission to practice I don't know what the fuck that shit say. To appear as counsel for Sean Combs, defendant in the above captioned action. I'm a member in good standing of the bar of the state of Georgia, and there are no pending disciplinary proceedings against me in any state or federal court. I have never been convicted of a felony. I have never been disbarred or denied admission or readmission by any court. I have been administratively suspended, then reinstated, and censored, but then vindicated by courts and provide the fact and circumstances surrounding those instances and the attached affidavit pursuant to Rule 1-3, Exhibit B. So he just going through this. Now been convicted of a felony. Ain't gotta read all that. Yeah, man. Brian still ready to go, man. Who the fuck is Diddy lawyers? Diddy ready to fight? Like I told y'all Diddy was. Where's the people that said Diddy was taking the plea? Where the fuck is Tissa Tells at? We need to get Tissa Tells over this bitch, cause we got some questions for her motherfucking ass. Bitch, who you work for? That's all we wanna know. We ain't wanna know nothing else. All we wanna know is who you work for. And why are you pushing these false narratives on Diddy all this time? And why you don't take accountability for nothing you say? You just move on like you ain't say it. Diddy defense team, lawyers. So he requested a 2-week delay. So the trial still must be going to end of May. He got Mark Gargos too. Then he got about 7 lawyers, man. He ready to stop on this case. I'm trying to tell you. See, this the thing. I don't think the play was ever to send Diddy to prison, y'all. It was just to shame him. It was to shame him, make him spend some money, lower his motherfucking net worth. I don't think it was ever prison. I don't.
Another defense attorney shakeup for Diddy's trial? Well, according to...
Let me show you what happened with Mark Gargos first. Because he was on TMZ as well. And they was grilling him about the Diddy shit. And he was not answering that shit at all. God damn it. Hold on. Yeah, he was on TMZ a couple days ago. Hold on. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you need to support the platform. Hey, real, send me my $20 now, nigga. Bluffing ass nigga. Don't ever bet me again, man. TK was eligible for parole when he is 62 years old. No, he won't. That's not fucking true. These niggas don't know what the fuck they talking about. It was 30 years, or it was 40 years. It was half the sentence or 30 years, whichever come first. Niggas don't know what the fuck they be talking about. They just be saying anything. That's the only thing about these damn blogs, man. Like, they just be speaking on everything and don't know shit. That's what the judge said. Am I correct? Isn't that what the judge said, y'all? He'll be eligible for parole in 30 years, in 40 years, or 30 years, whichever come first. It was either half of the sentence or 30 years, whichever come first. Ain't that what we heard? Or I'm geeking. I could have sworn that's what we heard. So I don't know what the fuck Spade TV official was talking about, because that's not what the fuck they said in court, brother. Yeah, it's not what they said in court. Hey, Real, you seen my $20 yet, nigga? That man got high profile attorneys, man. That boy ready to fight. No plea deal. Talking about Diddy taking the plea. He tried to get ASAP Rocky lawyer. That man throwing money all over the place. I think he might have did get ASAP Rocky lawyer for real. Look.
And this is something that I've known, not from you, Mark, but I've known it from other people, but I've told you about this over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Because now it's seeping.
Are you going to
Yes, I am.
union room?
I'm not trafficking. I'm not trafficking in rumors. I'm trafficking in fact. I have been told for weeks now, and
By who?
I'm not going to tell you, but you know my source.
How can I tell you?
Okay, well,
Wait,
let me just.
Is there an angry man privilege?
Let me.
Is there an angry man?
No, this is a valid story. This is a valid story, Mark. Mark
said I've got a valid point. Right now, I'm going to enjoy this.
No.
Friday.
You can't cut me off here, Mark. You cannot cut me off. I will do this alone on the.
Can I tell our listeners what you and I did before I got on camera? What did you do?
What do you mean? What did I?
You don't even remember. Give me that look.
No, I know you can't. You're diverting attention. I need. Okay, I want. Okay, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You will not let me say this. You are gonna represent Diddy, and I know it. And I've known this for 3 weeks, Mark.
I have represented Sean off and on for 15 years.
I know.
My daughter represents
I know
Sean.
that too.
I don't traffic in rumors.
This is not a rumor. I know your client is telling people. Your client is telling people you're representing him in the trial.
Have you talked to the client?
I am. Do you want to doubt me on this? Do you want to doubt me on this? Do you want to doubt me on this?
My daughter, Mark Agnifilo, Alexander Shapiro. There is a very able trial.
I understand that. Do you want to deny what I know? You can just look. I'm telling you what I know. Do you want to say it's not so?
Have you talked to Sean Love Combs? Have you talked?
I'm not going to tell you who I talked to, but I know I'm right.
He tells me what I
Mark,
say.
I will bet my house that Sean Combs has told people you're representing him.
There isn't a single person here who's been to your house. What kind of a guy are you? What kind of boss are you? Nobody comes to your house. You've been to my house. I haven't been to your house.
Now, can everybody hear the deflection? Just everybody listen to the deflection.
Yeah, Diddy definitely playing with him.
Why don't you want to talk to me about this?
Watch.
Workplace. I mean,
why don't you want to talk to me about this?
Diddy probably dropped 10 million on lawyers. I'm trying to tell you, I don't know what people thought this was, man. I think people forgot Diddy was a billionaire. That man probably dropped 10, 20, 30 million on lawyers, man. They're ready to go on the bitch and spank this shit out the federal government. At least on the sex trafficking. You know what I mean? On that sex trafficking count, that racketeering count where he facing life, he gonna spank that bitch. Diddy might end up with 2 years, man.
I mean,
6 months? How about you? No.
Oh my God.
4 years. Never been to his house.
Oh my God.
15 years.
I don't know.
13 years. Ever been to his house? 13 years. Never been to the house. We got 28 and 4, 32. 32 years, almost as long as the Menendez have been in custody, and none of your guys have been to your house. Harvey, what kind of boss? You're like, I mean, I've got a friend I'm going to refer.
It's cool, y'all. They added hella new charges, though, real. If I lose, I lose. But you know they added hella new charges. They keep adding new charges. Like, what they're doing right now is a delay tactic. It's getting closer and closer to trial, and they keep adding new. They ain't ready to go to trial, man. They keep adding new charges. Oh yeah, we got new charges on Diddy. Like, come on, what y'all gonna add new charges all the way up to the day of trial? Like, come on, man, y'all on some bullshit. They scared.
Okay, now you want to talk about Sean Combs?
No, I don't.
Of course you don't, because you've been working on this case for weeks and weeks and weeks, Mark.
I've been working on the Menendez for 2.5 years.
I know, but you're able to multitask, and we know that. Oh my God, you're leaving me, and you won't talk about this.
I am leaving you.
Oh my God, and you have to tell people I pissed in your bushes.
I'll take it on a contingency.
Oh my God.
Bye, Harvey.
Oh.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, Diddy ain't playing with the people, man. That man life on the line. Diddy going out fighting. Man. Y'all think it's a game? That man probably spent 20 million on lawyers. Probably spent more than that. Who the fuck knows how much he really spent? But you see how he already got Brian Steele. You know Brian Steele costs a pretty penny. Mark Gargos, he even bigger than Brian Steele. Man, I got about 6 lawyers, man.
To a new report, we are. And for those who follow a lot of trials, this name is super familiar. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, the rumor mill is swirling that Mark Garagos, yes, the Mark Garagos, is poised to take the lead at the defense table come trial. Now, as I'm talking about this, the official paperwork hasn't been filed. But as this new report suggests, that could be coming very soon. Mark Garagos has been practicing law since before I was born. But even I'm super familiar with the high-profile clients he's represented, like Winona Ryder in her shoplifting case, Michael Jackson, Nicole Richie, Chris Brown, Hunter Biden, Cain Velasquez, Scott Peterson, the Menendez brothers when they were seeking a retrial, and that's just some of the big names he's represented. The list truly goes on, and now he's seemingly adding Diddy to that list too. His reported addition comes a couple months after one of Diddy's lawyers unexpectedly dropped off the case. Back in February, Anthony Rico made a stunning announcement he was dropping from the case. Now, in paperwork filed on February 21st, Anthony Rico wrote, quote, "For the reasons set forth below, this motion for withdrawals is filed so that Sean Combs may move forward with his defense and to commence jury selection and trial without any delay. As a result of discussion with lead counsel Mark Agnifilo, this motion for withdrawal of counsel is filed. While I am aware that the local rule requires an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by the attorney/client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I have provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs," end quote. And the judge signed off on that motion. Now, despite rumors swirling on social media about why Anthony Rico quit, reports have suggested there was a clash over defense strategy, but nothing's confirmed. So let's take a look at who will be sitting at the defense table, along possibly with Mark Garagos. Well, we already know Mark Agnifilo will be there. According to online documents, he's still listed as lead counsel. There's Jason Anthony Driscoll, who worked alongside Alexandra Shapiro at Shapiro Arado Bach LLP. Alexandra Shapiro joined the team back in October, while Jason joined back in January. There's also Anna Maria Esteval, who joined in October, and of course there's Tenny Garagos, who's been working alongside Mark Agnifilo since Diddy's arrest in September. Now, if you're wondering if Tenny is related to Mark Garagos, you're correct. So we could see a father-daughter duo working together at trial. But here's the thing. While Mark Garagos was in an interview with TMZ.
So you think you know Wicks, but do you really? First up, we've got Shake Video Masks.
Because Diddy case is bogus, bro. It's two-tiered because Diddy shouldn't even be arrested. Yo, Diddy didn't sex traffic these girls, man. Like, yo, they try to convince the world that the relationships that Diddy had with these women was actually him sex trafficking them. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. That shit is bogus. Bogus. That man sex trafficked Cassie for 9 years. Bogus. Every case of sex trafficking that they got Diddy under is with girlfriends. Diddy was a freak. He liked freaky shit. He liked freaky shit with his girls. That shit ain't sex trafficking. That shit foreplay or something. You feel me? That shit pornographic in nature. I don't know what you call it, but sex trafficking is a fucking stretch. Now they might get him on one of them lesser charges like the fuck that charge was? Forced labor. No, but sex trafficking, hell no. Man, is they? Is they? Because Cassie fucked up because Cassie lied in the original indictment about how Diddy used to show her tapes and she was in such disgrace of the tapes, but then you find out she kept 9 tapes. So how the fuck was Diddy showing you these tapes in an effort to blackmail you or whitemail you, but at the same time you kept 9 tapes? So it seemed like you was blackmailing the motherfucker for, if anything. How's the man blackmailing you and you got 9 tapes you holding over his head? Man, they gonna destroy Cassie on that stand, man.
Levin, he played coy about the whole rumor, despite Harvey saying he's known about this for weeks. Garagos said, "I've represented Sean on and off for 15 years. My daughter represents Sean. I don't traffic in rumors."
We already seen
Now,
that.
last month, after Diddy's homes were raided by the feds, Mark Garagos said it was a shock and awe message to pressure potential witnesses to cooperate with authorities. After CNN released a shocking surveillance video of Diddy beating Cassie in the Intercontinental Hotel in LA, Garagos was skeptic about the timing and the motivation behind the leak, even telling Harvey Levin, his co-host on the Two Angry Men podcast, why would CNN alter a piece of media that's so damaging? And just want to point out here, despite the defense's objections to have the video admitted as evidence, we all remember when Diddy put out that apology video while still not saying Cassie's name.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help.
They a bluffing motherfucker.
Now they're going to therapy. They're going to rehab.
What disgusted, nigga?
Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
Hey, lie like a motherfucker. So he was disgusted. Nigga, he'll do that shit again, nigga.
I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
That video has since been deleted from Diddy's social media page, but the government says the surveillance video is critical to their case. So many legal experts want to know, will it be admitted?
Diddy's not charged for beating up Cassie, yo. Diddy's charged for sex trafficking. He never admitted he sex trafficked her in that video. That video, his apology video, that shit ain't gonna have no burns on the court. I promise you.
Mark Garagos, again, online records don't list him as an attorney. But when you have TMZ's Harvey Levin openly voicing his surety Garagos will be joining the defense team, let's just say it might be happening. Another defense shakeup as we're just weeks away now from Diddy's high-profile trial. Let's bring on criminal defense attorney Brian McMonagle. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Look, they ain't even get the fact that they brought Brian Steele.
Possibly joining the Diddy defense team.
Well,
he just added Brian Steele in the mix. Man, Diddy, that's bad. Y'all think it's a game. Watch what happens when they go to court. you think OJ had a dream team. Wait, the fuck y'all see with Diddy? You talk about dream team. That boy got a dream team, man. What are these additional charges from yesterday? I don't know, man. That thing get crucial.
Let me get you a cold one.
She gonna be that bitch
Try
crying
one of
and
these.
all
That
shit.
is the best.
She gonna be trying to lie and shit. Especially when they show the videos of her enjoying the freak offs.
He was one of the top names in the music industry. Now, Sean Combs' name is at the top of the court docket.
The founder of Bad Boy Entertainment answered to a judge this afternoon on 2 more charges of sex trafficking and prostitution. He insists he's innocent.
But the clock is ticking to the start of his new federal trial. Dan Krauth, outside federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, with today's key takeaways. Dan?
Bill and Sandra, the clock is ticking here. I have the indictment right here. It continues to grow longer. Now a total of 5 charges against him. His trial is scheduled to start next month, but if we learn in court today, there's a possibility it could be delayed even longer. Nothing to say about today? Will you be filing an adjournment? The attorneys for Sean Combs did not answer our questions as they left court today. It's crunch time for the legal team. With jury selection scheduled to take place on May 5th, prosecutors officially charged Combs with 2 additional charges: sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution. The new counts revolve around an unnamed woman, identified in court documents as victim number 2. The U.S. attorney says for years, Combs used his business
We already know
empire
who victim
to
number 2 is. Victim number 2 is the same girl that put out a statement and supported Diddy.
Abuse and exploit women. and use his empire to commit violence and obstruction of justice. The former U.S. attorney laid out the alleged criminal scheme back when the charges were first filed in September.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent.
While they didn't talk today, Combs' attorneys have maintained his innocence all along, saying the victims are former girlfriends who partook in consensual relationships. In court today, his defense team signaled they may be asking for an official delay to the start of trial. The government found about 200,000 emails sent from a witness that will be testifying about Combs' racketeering charge. The defense does not have access to all the emails, and they only have 21 days left to go to pick a jury. Not a lot of time. The judge gave the defense 48 hours to file for a possible trial delay because, as he told the courtroom today, they're moving at the, quote, speed of a freight train towards that trial date. Reporting live from the federal courthouse, Dan Kraus.
Yeah, but this is just delay tactics by the United States government. They not ready to go to trial, man. They're gonna keep coming down with new little frivolous. We got a new victim, y'all. Got a new victim. Ah, shit. Damn, that shit hurt. Let's see what this is about. Shoot the Spider Lope, man. Spider Lope page. Exposed and 600. This shit too long.
Exposing that. Why are you openly saying he's this type of person? You see what I'm saying? But anyways, this is what he wrote 3 or 4 of them. He even wrote my nigga Gizzy. I got the screenshots on my phone of that too. Nigga, y'all think I'm lying? Look, watch this shit. Well, I'm gonna say y'all think I'm lying just the same, right? I'm finna put Gizzy shit. Like, he was desperately trying to get that post taken down. He wanted me to take that post down because, like I said, when you go look at that video on my Instagram, so I'm gonna explain to you why, right? He thought the coast was clear. Hold on, let me get this one from Gizzy up. Right here, look. Man, I'll be like, this nigga weird, bro.
Bro, these kinds.
So he sent voice messages, but Gizzy didn't screen record it.
Yeah, he is.
He just sent me like that he DM'd him. Watch this shit. Alright, boom. The homie. He sent me the screenshots. The nigga over here. The homie tell him, you ain't tripping. How about my DMs? Hit me when you in Vegas so we can have a drink.
I ain't trying to listen to that. I ain't really had nothing to say about Wack, yo. Just we gotta mention, we gotta always throw in there that he's a rat. Just in case he ever forget. You know what I mean? Just in case he search his name and he think that people forgot. Like, no, nigga, we ain't forget, nigga. You still a rat, nigga. Stitch ass, nigga. We ain't never gonna forget. You gonna be a rat till the day you die, nigga. Try to act like he ain't know what was going on with Loose Cannon. You know, I brought him up there to promote a book, promote his TV series. Nigga, shut up, nigga. Nobody try that dumb ass shit, nigga. You brought that boy up there to rat because y'all motherfuckers had a motherfucking. Them boys already had some shit going on. It was already a play in motion. Yo, why is they bringing Mo Gambit up here to talk about Big Meech didn't snitch? Like, shut the fuck up, nigga. Yo, what the fuck? Yo, what be going on? Yo, like, they bringing these lawyer ass niggas. Oh yeah, Big, you didn't rat. Big Meech didn't snitch. Like, yo, who the fuck? What makes you? Who crowned you guys as the fucking overseers of who told it, who not? You would tell. Like, yo, we don't want to hear your opinion on that shit. Dumbass nigga. Ain't nobody even watch that shit. Adam be geeking. Mo Gambit talk about Big you didn't snitch. 1090 Jake talk about this person didn't snitch. Nigga, fuck both you niggas. Niggas ain't credible in the real world. Ain't credible on the internet. Only credible to people that don't know no better. Now you got whoever this guy is then linked up with Wack to try to clear Wack name. Wack called him for reinforcements.
And a designer, but if I'm working with type in Photoshop,
What's up, Lush?
What's happening with
Is your jersey on backwards? Or
Look,
I license, registration, insurance. You pulled me over for speeding. Right? I'm not on no papers. How did you get under my seat?
Jay-Z told us you gonna need a warrant for that.
Yeah, you don't know you clean. Yeah, I don't care if you clean or not because you can be clean, but you give them consent, and they slide something up under you. So how many times the police didn't come through, put y'all on the wall, take y'all burners, let y'all go? Them throwaways, they go right over there to this other cat who they know they hate this nigga. See him and put it right on him.
But Wack, don't you think that with 6ix9ine, a lot of the anger and the entitlement that this fool had came from he was in a shot caller position. He's ordering hits.
They did that.
You feel me?
That don't make him. That don't make him.
Oh, 6ix9ine was ordering.
Yeah, but
Hell
see
yeah,
what I'm saying?
ordering hits.
But you see, it was. Remember we talked the other day about the bag.
Yeah.
But that don't make you.
No, and that's how I was just looking at it. I figured that he was just like, like a little kid that was rapping and, and probably fell into their lap and he was just a bag. But, he wasn't a gangster. He was just a
But
money.
they was letting him go do this.
Because when he would get in beef with these different
he love
rappers,
that
they would
shit.
try to
Yo,
put...
6ix9ine was an informant from the beginning. 6ix9ine came in the game as an informant, man. Yo, you gotta watch these guys that got these weird ass cases, then all of a sudden they end up entertainers or end up making some type of money with influence. That man caught a wild ass case. Now he a fucking blood. 2 years later or a year later, now he taking down the same bloods that helped put him on. That man was an agent from the beginning, man.
pull him into question, then he's like,
Every count in that motherfucking Treyway indictment was some shit that 6ix9ine told them boys to do. Who the fuck drops a bag and say don't shoot him, just shoot at him? A federal agent. You feel me? Who does that? I'm gonna give you 30,000, but I don't want you to kill him though. I just want you to shoot at him. I just want you to scare him. That's an agent, man.
oh, nah, this was finna happen now. Chief Keef tried to press him,
Yeah, I heard about all that.
Yeah,
so he, okay.
He fumbled the bag. Yeah, so
that wasn't
he was kind of like, you feel me? Like he kind of like say you gotta.
Wack, he been taking up for Wack, so Wack brought him on his team. Yeah, man. In order for a way to gain the credibility. But if you sit next to any of these niggas, you flaw as a motherfucker. I could never sit across from this nigga, especially even one of them niggas for real. But you can't be as solid as you say you is. You sit next to Wack 100 and this nigga. Fuck no. You flaw as a bitch.
Told the police this prior to, and then Luce comes on here after the fact, not knowing, and says it. Then he stamps it.
He's corroborating it at that point.
But what if the feds heard Luce Cannon say it, and then go to him and say that this happened, and then now he makes a statement on it after Luce Cannon says it?
No, but the feds, like in the paperwork, if you read it, Big U paperwork, the feds is saying that they know this to be true because old boy Dale was already working with him and was already telling them that he was being extorted and they robbed him and all that, and he been to one of Big U residents.
So why is it even necessary for there to be that additional corroboration of him saying it again if they already know?
No, what I'm saying is, what if he get a statement after Luce Cannon came on here?
Yeah, look at he's playing like he is playing, acting like, come on, Wack, come on, yo, cut the crap, bro, cut it out. Yo, we know the jig is up, bro. Like the light is shined on you. We all know what it was, bro. Like, come on now. He keep trying to take himself out the scenario. You, Luce Cannon, and the feds put that whole play together, bro.
Is it still credible? Like, if he did it before, Luce Cannon come say it, if you know what I'm saying?
That's if it's played out in the paper. So I'm gonna tell you like
Wack
this.
didn't Wack. Yo, Wack, I keep trying, that's why people is mischaracterizing the Wack 100 shit. Yo, Wack cooperation was not with the Main Street Crips. Wack cooperation was against Death Row. It was Death Row, man. Death Row had informants in it. Wack was one of them.
Here, see, like in the feds, in that courtroom, everything goes, and you can't do nothing about it but fight them. Like like in certain instances, having a paid lawyer, that shit don't even matter if they got you, right? So what I mean with that, like even in my case, I had a big ass case. I had the worst charge. People be talking about the RICO. The RICO is not really nothing. I've seen somebody do 6 months off of RICO. The worst charge you can have is a CCE, continuing a criminal enterprise. You feel me? That shit was on my case. So I seen people. That's LWAP. Man, that's automatically like life, but like only 3% of people get like found.
Yo, how much time you caught for that? Who's this guy? Hey, Hard Mo, how much time you caught, Hard Mo? You know this nigga?
I'm guilty for that shit. Okay. You feel me? So I've seen people on the conspiracy, all type of shit is allowed, lies and all that. It'd be a motherfucker coming in court that you never seen. Tell, oh yeah, he served me some pills or did this. So how it's laid out from what we see, it didn't happen like that. Allegedly that, you know what I'm saying, all this came afterward. It's lined up as if old boy was being extorted allegedly. Got at the police, told them this what was going on. They was investigating unbeknownst to anybody, and then Loose Cannon came on camera and said what he said.
So here goes another question, right? I noticed that in there it's a 4-year thing, right? And it's out of the 7 people or whatever.
I'm done with this shit. Why the fuck are they asking him questions? Bitch, you need to be answering questions. Not him. He don't know shit. You the one was there from the fucking beginning. I'm done. I can't watch that shit no more. Go asking him questions like he got the answers. I mean, like yo got the answers. No, nigga, we want to know what the fuck role you played. Like that's what we want to know. We don't want to know nothing else but the role Wack 100 played. I think most of us already know. You know what I mean? Yeah, probably is one of his clubhouse friends. Yeah, man, I think he is because Deuce Adams been going at him lately. Deuce Adams been on Wack 100 heels more than I had been. Like yo, going into the paperwork, showing all type of proof. Back, he been on that hell. I think it's obvious though, y'all. It ain't really up for debate. It is what it is. Wack 100, stand on it. That's all I had to say about Wack. It ain't really too much to say. We just stand on it. If you don't want to stand on it, we gonna make you. You feel me? We all watched it. Some people have common sense. Some people know how this shit work. I think the feds, Wack 100, and Loose Cannon was in cahoots from the beginning because the feds been grabbed Loose Cannon. The feds been grabbed Brick Baby. A lot of these guys knew this indictment was coming down. And if you Loose Cannon and you know they already grabbed you, why are you going on platform after platform after platform after platform with Wack 100 behind you? Still speaking on crimes Big you supposed to commit it. It's common sense. Like, yo, that's why I be like, niggas be acting like they gotta see. It's common sense. If the feds grab me and take me in for questioning about some shit involving one of y'all, this was years ago. This 2020. If they grab me in 2022 or 2023 and question me about one of y'all, and it's 2025, and I'm still doing interviews talking about one of y'all, then I'm working. Like, what the fuck? Like, it ain't rocket science. Like, why else would I do it? Why else would I know that the feds is investigating one of y'all, and I'm still going on interviews talking about crimes that y'all committed? Fuck, work with the people, man. Like, certain shit, yo, it don't even really take that much thought. It's really just obvious. You know what I mean? Because shit, I probably don't know, bro. Shit, I probably don't know Wack 100 was working. Probably don't. Shit, Knight been locked up for a long time now. You know what I mean? That man been locked up for a minute. Probably don't know. Probably speculating. Probably scared to speak on it. They might put him on lockup or something. Who the fuck knows? It's crazy. People don't even ask Shit Knight about Wack for real. I think that's strange. I think I only heard him talk about Wack one time. Let's see what Shit Knight got. Let's see if Shit Knight ever spoke about Wack. What he said. I see his son was dissing him. Yo, they be playing without numbers, yo. This shit is. Say the tow truck driver. Yeah, so he don't even respect them as a valuable person.
So Wack, I ain't gonna argue with you. When I get there. But at the end of the day, don't sit up there and lie and say I rolled up off some other yard and I couldn't be on the line. That ain't true. Motherfucker can check my C files, anything and everything about me. One thing about it, my being a high notoriety and high profile person, it seems they put certain people on certain yards. It's actually easier on the line for me than being on this yard. I refused when I first got here, so I was in a hole. But I'm not gonna stay in a hole when you locked up 23 hours a day. You can't get no radio, can't have no TV, can't have no fan, can't have no hot pot, can't get no taxes, you only can spend a little money on canteen, can't really get canteen.
What you talking about, nigga? See what his son said.
This message is for that little short nigga named Wack 100. Bro, keep my name out your mouth. Keep my father's name out your mouth. Focus on your shit. Whatever the fuck it is. Cash Money West. Ride Birdman's dick. We don't even talk to you, bro. Focus on why. Get your artist another hit or some shit, nigga. Focus on you. Focus on you. Focus on your family. Nobody says to themselves.
So that's why that was shit nice, son.
He probably ride that motherfucker anywhere, huh? Doesn't be riding. He don't even drive no more, bro. You know what I mean? That's when you talk to her, hey man, the bike. It's getting on my nerves, man. See, the day was I was selling it, you know what I mean? Because, you know, it ain't like the one I was selling it, and he heard about it, he intercepted, man. You know what I mean? It kind of touched my heart for a minute, but, you know, that's my brother. And so I was like giving it to him. You know, I remember mother said, man, we had got into an argument. I don't want that no more. But, you know, I changed my life around, man. You know what I mean? I know family is important. So I just said, you know, my mother called me, you know what, get that boy that bike, just give it to him. Just I said, I'm not giving him nothing. Just do something to get. And that's it. But, you know, I have to do what I got to do. That's it, too. You know what I mean? I just had a grandson and a granddaughter. I ain't got the chance to meet him yet. But then I know my...
Should? At all. Right? Nah, zero. I'm going to speak on it because he been speaking. I don't respect him no more. Should? At all. Right? Nah.
Yo, Wack talk a lot of shit with motherfuckers out the way. Yo, that nigga is the out the way king. Once the motherfuckers out the way, Wack gonna slander the shit out you, boy. He don't believe in not kicking the motherfucker while he down. He actually prefer you to be down first. You know what I mean? That way you are absolutely no threat to him. You are in the hands of the federal government or the LAPD or whatever PD, and he can talk freely.
Man, I paid for this man mama's funeral, bro.
People probably saying, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Especially if you don't listen to this digital soapbox. So, from Fruitown, Peru, dude that I got a lot of respect and love for, him and his brother Big Duck. And those were the brothers who he was talking about, who Shiv was talking to on the audio. And so we just wanted to come with y'all so y'all can hear the whole version, because, you know, Ball First, y'all family. And we like to give it all to y'all straight from, you know, we.
So, yeah, when he mentions truck or the trucker, he's obviously talking about Wack 100. When he mentions PlayStation, he's talking about the game. And then when he mentions dog, he's talking about Big U. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then also, you know, Ray J is Ray J. And of course, the dancing, what do you call him, the dancing kid or the dancing boy?
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about Chris Brown.
Okay.
For those of y'all don't, so that's who
Yeah, he don't even mention the man by his name, man. He don't respect him. He knows his agent. Agent ass niggas. Like a wild ass nigga, man. I don't know where the fuck they find these guys at. Wherever they found them at, they need to send them back. You know what I mean? Like, send them back and keep them there. Can't stand nothing about them. But y'all, it's 2:07. Yeah, we ready. I appreciate everybody that tapped in as usual. Y'all see how they do the numbers. We gonna keep it this way though, like I said, cause I ain't sending us no new people anyway. You send one to my IG, bro. I ain't sending us no new people anyway, so I don't really make a difference. Not really make a difference. Oh, y'all. I ain't checking that shit out. I'll check it out later. Yeah, we'll check that shit out later, bro. It's getting late. I'm tired. Niggas out here pushing false narratives on TK. And that's what they did. That's how they did. And that's how Snoop on death row. Said, yo, them niggas play a dirty game, yo. But that's how niggas play in the streets. If they can't get rid of you, they'll tell on you, man. It's like it's some vicious people out here, yo. Them niggas play the game raw. Like they ain't got ain't no cut cards with that shit. I can't get rid of you any kind of way. Them niggas will put the police on your line, man. I'm trying to tell you. Like Shorty did in the Dirk situation. Yo, lied them up. They lied the man up with a fucking CI or informant in the cell. Bad news. Not talk about your case in the joint, man. If you got a murder case, especially if you got a case that's lacking evidence, any type of situation where they think it's multiple people and everybody not indicted, now you better go on that bitch and stay quiet. Cause these niggas are trying to come home. And like I said, some of them trying to come home worse than others. Now with Wack, he just was scared to death. Like, it's obvious. We seen the video at Novo. The man wasn't even sweating, kept wiping his face just to make sure he was still there. You know what I mean? The man talked on platforms so that he cut after him Big U fell out. He had to rearrange his whole schedule. He sent his kids out of town. You know what I mean? The man quit his job. Like, he just was uncomfortable, yo. Big U made his skin crawl. He couldn't focus. He couldn't ride around L.A. with his head held high because Big U might be tailing him in his mind, you know. But appreciate everybody that tapped in. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. It's another day of Keep It G News.